Okay.
Alright, hey, what's up guys? Nightwing Way of Life Esports coming at you guys with another League of Legends podcast, episode 17, actually. So, how are you guys doing tonight?
You know, dude.
Gosh.
I am still euphoric after this previous Sunday.
How much?
And I'm still depressed after this Sunday.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I love y'all whenever you're here, but I do have to make one, or rather two quick announcements. People might have noticed in the Discord chat that I kicked a few people, and that's because this place is for discussing things about the up and coming week for a podcast, right? So if you're not actively participating, I have to kick you, because the other Discord is where, like, you know, you can just like talk shit and stuff. So yeah, the reason why it looks a little bit smaller is because this place is for, you know, people participating, you know, and we're discussing league ideas for the podcast, talking. And if you're not here every single week, I think that is, or at least as much as you can, I think it's a little bit disrespectful that these guys are here like a lot when they can make it. And then some people have just not been on in a very long time. They've not contacted me. They've not made any effort to be on. And, you know, it's not what this is about. It's about obviously being consistent as much as you can. I know life stuff gets in the way, but that's perfectly fine. You know, but at least you could contact me and say, hey, I want to be on next week's episode, you know. But if you want to just join and talk in the other one, that's perfectly fine. But this specific Discord is for obviously talking about League and other things for having fun and shit. You know, we can have fun talking about movies, you know, maybe talk about LEC being garbage, but that just, you know, defeats the point. Is that you always want to make sure that you're participating as much as you can, you know, because that's what this is for. We're supposed to grow. You know, we can argue, doesn't really matter, but as long as we don't get too toxic, you know, we're calling each other horrendous insults. But nevertheless, all that PR stuff is over. Cloud9 is the LCS Spring Split 2020 champions. G2 is the LEC 2020 Spring Split champions. So, what do you guys think about the final week for both LEC and LCS?
Well, so things went exactly as expected. I don't know. I suppose in the LEC, the absolute curb stomp that G2 put onto Fnatic is a little more surprising, considering people were kind of building up Fnatic as maybe the better team ever since G2 lost to the Mad Lions. But here's the thing. G2 has always played real fast and loose. And when you do that and you lack discipline at times like them, they can lose games. But Cloud9 they came in, they took care of business, and it just seemed like everyone just knew it was coming. Like, I don't know. I sort of already put us down for this trophy weeks ago.
Yeah, I think by week 9, when we were 9-0, I was like, is there a team that can really beat us in the finals? This is obviously non-fan biased, you know what I mean? You got to look at everything objectively. You got to take everything with a grain of salt. But I think once they said that a lot of the teams were refusing to scrim them, I was like, okay, this is like written, done in the books. Let's wrap this split up, you know?
Yeah, luckily C9 has a good scrim partner in their academy team, who also, by the way, won the academy championship.
I was proud of them too.
So,
you know?
Yeah. Well, it's not surprising, considering C9 is the best run organization in North America.
And my boy Insana, God Lord, I always forget pronouncing your name properly. He is the biggest FlyQuest fan I have ever met. He doesn't care if people shit talk them. He doesn't care if people say whatever they want. He's a FlyQuest fan. So how did you feel after the LCS finals?
So, after watching FlyQuest probably my third year now, or however long they've been in LCS, I've been watching like every single game. Game 1, I thought they actually had a chance, and there were a few key plays that just didn't go FlyQuest's way.
Mm-hmm.
Ignar missed a couple hooks. Turtle got caught by a Nautilus hook in mid lane. Turtle died to a Veigar W after Niski died, like a second later. That could have resulted in FlyQuest getting Baron, and kind of like, because they arguably had the better scaling comp there. But after seeing them kind of get manhandled game 2, I kind of knew it was over. I wasn't expecting FlyQuest to win the series by any means, but I was expecting them to take one game.
Well, I think they could have won game 1, but they needed to do something different in draft. They needed not to give the best top laner in the league the best top lane champion in the league. Like, giving Licorice Set was kind of disrespectful, honestly. Like, does that champion lose? I don't think
it's disrespectful. I think it's that pro teams have been, or at least FlyQuest in that regard, they've been banning Senna Tom Kench almost the whole season. So that's their 2 of their bans. I forget who their 3rd ban was, but
I can tell you in a second.
Yeah, I think what they were trying to do is
it was Zoe.
One sec.
Yeah.
One sec. Itza, your mic is kind of staticky. Is that you?
Hello? Is that me?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what to do. It's the only mic I have. It's wireless too. I can
put on push to talk real fast.
Sure, I'll do that. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Love you.
Anyway, you were saying about their bans.
Yeah, so if Zoe's their last ban, and I hope my mic's better, by the way.
Yeah, it's way better.
I mean, that's respect to Niski. FlyQuest is a team that struggled immensely against Zoe. You can watch them through the first EG series and some of the games they played against EG in the normal season, and almost every team, maybe except for Golden Guardians in the playoffs that played Zoe, FlyQuest has kind of struggled against that champion. And solo, and even top lane meta right now is kind of a gentleman's trade of like, okay, if Set's up, then the first team gets Set and the other team gets Ornn or Aatrox. That's just kind of how it's been, especially for FlyQuest, but I think almost every team. I don't think it's disrespectful they gave it Licorice Set. Yes, I wish they would have banned it, but it's more obvious that C9 going into this matchup was going to be playing through Niski Blabber than Licorice in comparison with PoE and Torrent.
I mean, I agree with most of that. I disagree with 2 things. I think they could have easily just let the Tom go through, because yes, Tom's a strong champion, but it is a support, and Licorice on Set is, as evidenced by the game, is almost impossible to deal with.
I can understand that. Sorry.
And I don't think you can really expect Cloud9 to play any certain way, because they have the best player at each position. Like, yeah, they have been doing the mid-jungle 2v2 as their main vehicle of winning their games, because that's just the best way to win games right now. But here's the thing, if they wanted to go through a top lane focus game, they absolutely could. Or if they wanted to go with a scaling bot lane centric, they absolutely could.
Yeah,
I mean, that sort of lends to the problem. Like, how do you actually prepare against the C9 team?
Yeah, I understand that, but then you have to put it in FlyQuest's point of view. I mean, you can prepare for C9 all you want, but then you also have to perform well, right?
Yeah.
So, I think, like, with the Tom Kench ban, I personally don't really get it, because it wasn't just like some people tell me, oh, it's Vulcan. Vulcan's one of the most comfortable Tom Kenches. Tom Kench Varus, like, us just want to play against that. But honestly, I would have rather seen C9 pick Kench, because the whole point of FlyQuest is FlyQuest has, like, I mean, not the most like crazy way of playing the game. It's pretty obvious. Like Ica mentioned this at near the end of the split, that like playing against FlyQuest, you kind of know what their game plan is, and I can kind of agree with that. You have PoE on a control mage, late game scaling, and you try to have him carry the game later. You have Torrent try to help him, and you have Ignite run mid. Wild Turtle had one of like the lowest jungle proximities, I think almost the most lowest jungle proximity this split, and they never really played through it. So
no,
in C9's head, I think they were also kind of maybe surprised that they didn't or that Tom Kench kept getting banned, because I mean Turtle would just die to Nautilus hooks like throughout the whole game. Well, a Kench probably couldn't do that.
Right? No, yeah. I want to say a couple things aside real fast. Dude, mad props for being a FlyQuest fan. Like, they just came into the league, and they didn't really have any history of winning before this.
Nope.
So, dude, mad props to picking FlyQuest as your team and sticking with them. No, I respect that.
Yeah.
Mad respect.
Long story short, it was just, I don't even remember why I liked them. I think it was my first time ever watching LCS, and I might have just, that's the team I tuned into. And they were, their first split, they were actually winning a lot in the first round robin of the split, then they started losing later. But they got 4th on their first split, and then they missed playoffs. And
that was when they had high, right?
Yeah, it was a Cloud9 Challenger roster with
Oh
like
my
high
moon.
balls.
Good
all-
lord.
Dude,
Aces,
any team that has ties to Cloud9 is you can pretty much figure them to be a quality organization. You got Cloud9, you got FlyQuest, EG. We were making fun of them earlier, but they proved us wrong by having a pretty solid roster. Honestly, I think FlyQuest, if they can just obviously the fact that international travel is banned for right now is sort of a hamper for the summer split. But going into next year, if they can keep PoE and Santorin and Ignar, I think they have a real strong foundation
I agree.
to. Santorin's not an import, is he?
No, he's resident.
It's ignoring
So-
power reviewable.
Yeah, PoE.
Oh, Ignar.
Slots.
Okay. So I'm just trying to think. Probably just try to bring up some young talent, either in the top lane.
I think Revenge
Or
is
eight-
good.
Yeah.
So FlyQuest Academy didn't have the best split, and Revenge is, I mean, kind of. I don't like saying this because this is such a stupid thing, and he's kind of old.
he is old. Yeah.
Academy player. I personally think, I mean, I don't know much about like how Team Scout organization is saying this is just like fans sitting on a couch pointing at TV telling a team what they should do. But for me, it's very obvious that the weakest point on the team, in my opinion, is Turtle.
Yeah.
And every time I talk to people about this, they say, "Oh, he's the face of the organization."
My
When you think of
gosh,
FlyQuest,
yeah.
you think of Turtle. And like Travis and Mark talked not about Turtle, but like they talked about this whole argument specifically. Mark was, if I believe, yeah, it's Mark. Mark was arguing more for a team will go for talent over just keeping their namesake. And Travis was saying, well, if it's like a smaller org team, they'll probably keep their namesake just to like be recognized as a team. But honestly, in my opinion, like as much as I love Turtle, I don't think he's a bad player. It's just FlyQuest is never going to play through him with the team they have. Ignar is a good support, but he has a pretty
Oh my!
dimensional playstyle.
Let me beat my drum real fast. You know who FlyQuest should sign?
Who?
Gibby and S.
Sneaky?
Give me
Yes.
Give me an in. Give me
He's basically even in his worst year, even in his worst split, he was a better version of Wild Turtle is right now.
give me.
Well, Sneaky is better than Turtle in my opinion by far. It's just here's the thing. FlyQuest is, in my opinion, they're not gonna make any changes because first of all, Summer Split's actually starting pretty soon in comparison to other splits, but MSI is going to be canceled according to Travis, so I don't know if they'll change Summer Split, but it is starting earlier than how it usually does. With how little time there is, and FlyQuest got second, and people are gonna call me crazy, like, oh, why are you asking for changes? Your team literally got second.
Because
It's just-
that's what you do. That's what you do.
That's what you do. That's what C9 does. I mean, yeah, people can say C9 took a long time to get rid of Sneaky and stuff, and I don't know. I think I mentioned this to you maybe last stream or something, but at my old work, I had a buddy named Vinny, and he actually grew up in my high school and went to the same high school as Contracts. Contracts is from the same city I'm from. And
Oh shit!
when
Nice.
Contracts was on C9, Contracts was telling him that they were trying to build the whole organization around C9. And now you can look what C9's done in the past couple of years, where they benched Trinity and Jensen, and they brought in Kumo, Licorice, and Zazel.
Wait! You said which organization was trying to build them around C9?
C9 was trying to get rid of players to build around Contracts.
Oh right, but he left for
Yeah,
Golden
but he
Guardians.
left
Oh.
for Golden Guardians.
We all know how that turned out, didn't we?
Yeah, he probably would have a different career right now if he stayed on C9.
I don't know. He might have, but I didn't really see him as like a prospect, though. No offense to him, but I didn't really see him as like Blabber level. You know what I mean? He was like
he was very good. in
I
his
don't know,
split.
man. I think he was like, what's the player that people kind of remind him of? It's Clear Love. If anybody's ever watched Clear Love in the LPL, he kind of reminded me of him.
Or
I don't watch LPL.
or he reminded me of Mike Young in Mike Young's first split.
And then Mike Young,
Like when he was good.
And then when he down the
Yeah,
dumpster.
because he didn't get proper coaching. Here's the problem with the North American LCS. It's not even that our talent level is bad. It's the fact that our organizations, aside from like Cloud9 and maybe one or two others, are just bad. Like the coaching is bad. If we had 10 teams with the coaching staff and the organizational structure of Cloud9, we'd probably be as good as the U.
Maybe, but I think a good point was brought on this on the Hotline League, like the one yesterday. A caller came in and asked Niski about like NA teams' mentality and stuff, and it was pretty amazing to hear that Niski was saying some teams would just refuse to scrim C9 because it'd be too demoralizing to lose to them. That is insane.
It's not insane. This is where I'm going to cut in and stop this load of BS that people have. It's actually worse as a person if you continuously go up against something you lose and do bad against. To actually grow as individuals, you have to see yourself having success. So if you're consistently going against something and you're never seeing success, you're never going to find success. The best way to actually practice, and this is how professional sports do it, is you actually practice against lesser competition to refine yourself and become better. It's probably one of the reasons why C9 is so separated, is because they didn't have to play against anybody harder this year. They only played against people that are worse. So it gave them more and more opportunities to refine their skills and get better.
Except, all right. Here's a couple things. In professional sports, they practice against lesser opponents because they practice within their own house, because you can't really practice against other teams. Like in baseball,
you can't. New York or LA, the teams that have two cities on the same teams, they don't
because they're
fundamentally bad.
Because they're still competitors. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. In fact, C9 was kind of lamenting the fact that they didn't have any high-level competition to actually practice against, so they couldn't get better than they are right now. Niski in that same league, Hotline League, pretty much said this, not exactly these exact words, but he pretty much said as much, that he wished TL was as good as they were last year, so that they could get better. Here's the thing: if you face no resistance, you're not going to get stronger. Like, because you're not learning anything, because you're not being punished for any of your mistakes.
My thing is, we've seen literal teams go into boot camps for Worlds and go nonstop against LPL, LCK teams, get their butts handed to them, go into Worlds and lose instantly, and then you have a team like Cloud9 when they go third place, literally just scrim against wildcard teams. Don't really take the practice all 100%. Not say they take it serious, but they're not trying to play the top seeds for every reason, because they can't even get those, and they come in and perform better. Yeah. Going consistently against better teams is actually one of the worst things you can do as practice.
I don't.
Otherwise,
agree
you
with
would see the Clippers and the Lakers would be practicing with each other all the time, or the Giants and the Jets, the Rams and the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they wouldn't.
It's why you have scout teams. It's why you have individual scouts. That's why LCK literally has like their sister teams practice with their main teams almost the whole time. In LCK, you very rarely actually get LCK teams scrim each other, because it's fundamentally worse practice. You can't control the other team's variables. It's actually better if C9's practicing their academy team, because they can go to their academy team and say, we want you to run this game plan and focus on this way in that aspect. Whereas if you're scrimming against like another team, you don't have any say or control of how they're going to play against your main squad.
Personally, that is a good point. I haven't heard that before, and it's making me kind of reconsider my position. I don't think I can give a full explanation of kind of a rebuttal, but the only thing going through my mind, and I want to ask you this too, do you think it would still be bad, in theory, for FlyQuest, let's say we go back a week, to be scrimming Cloud9? You think that would be bad practice?
I think going into the final weeks, you should be practicing against your academy team and having them be scouts of the teams you're going to play, and try and really practice actually having a game plan and how to run it.
So
a lot of what happened with FlyQuest in this C9 series was a team running with their heads chopped off and not actually making game plans and play. They looked like a team who had no idea what to do.
And
game one was great. C9 actually played pretty poorly this weekend.
What?
I don't watch some of the games. There was literal times in the games where you would have a player on C9 have to blow a flash because they were playing up and fast. And if FlyQuest had half a brain and didn't flash immediately onto the C9 player that just got away, they would have lost so many summoner spells before dragon fights, before Rift Herald fights. There were times bot lane where Sven was by himself, and Ignore comes in with Alistar, gets Sven's flash, and instead of like actually like, okay, fine, he flashed, we have the flash and summoner advantage, especially with Alistar, what does Ignore do? He immediately flashes so far away that his AD carry can't do anything, and he just blew a flashes Alistar. So he literally lost. Can
you give me the time code for that?
That was game one. Probably about.
Oh,
played Alistar.
That's the game where they got stomped when they were trying to like dive towers and shit.
They kept literally played like a team who had no idea how to play the game. And if C9 Sven is and you have C9 Sven burning flash, you had Niski burning flash top, you had times where Lickler's was actually getting.
You said what?
Counted in by an Ornn top lane. I can't remember what the exact time was. I know it was in the middle when laning phase was kind of ending. I have to imagine it was around the 12-minute mark or not. But like, there were so many times where FlyQuest forced C9 to use bad summoner spells because C9 was being so disrespectful that like if C9 did that against a team at like an MSI tournament, they would be blown out in 22 minutes because a team at MSI is gonna say, "Oh, Yasuo flash down, or Set flash down, or definitely the AD carry flash down. We're going to force this next fight, and we're going to literally run them over."
You said it was an Alistar? Like, no, they would Blitzcrank? Alright, so
game
it's not
two.
game two.
No, game 2 they went Alistar.
Yeah, game 1 was Blitzcrank. Which, by the way,
whoops.
completely missed all of the hooks in the world. If you would have hit half the hooks, you never lost that game. Even still, like there's a point in that first game where FlyQuest gets the advantage after like a dragon fight. You see PoE is your clear power player, like he's your damage carry on that team. And what do they do in like the next 2 minutes? They start a fight without PoE, get rolled, and lose the game from that point on.
Wasn't the fight without
it's
PoE
like
because he got flashed on and died?
Hold on. Like, here's the... I would really want to, like... One of these days, we should, like, have a VOD up, and we should all, like, look at these things, because I'm sure there's, like, practical reasons why, like, say, C9 went aggressive, or let's say, there's probably reasons for these things that aren't inherently obvious upon just watching the game from our point of view. Also,
I think
a lot of times
also argue too. I mean, if in C9's point of view, if they're rolling FlyQuest in game 2, yeah, they could take bad trades or bad decisions and stuff, but if they're constantly keeping the pressure on a team that has no idea what they're doing in game 2 and getting completely... They're not just going to sit back and try to play it old LCK style. They're going to try to end the game. That's how C9 has played games this split.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. All the mistakes you brought up... like, those
mistakes they brought up are the things that lose you international competition against good teams.
Except that's what China does. China's extremely aggressive, and a lot of times they do get over aggressive and blow summoner spells.
It's over aggression when they go at plays. This is just farming side lanes. This is just being in a side lane, pushing up too far with it. This isn't as if they're trying to start a fight. This is just being like, I'm going to farm this side lane. If they come, I guess I have to flash.
The thing in the series where, like, game 3 was a definite winnable game. Remember how they had that dragon fight and they, like, caught out Sven or Niski? I can't remember who. And then they were winning and then they ran into them 5v4 and lost. Like, that is just weird, you know?
Which dragon was it? I'm gonna
game 3. That was game 3.
I just posted the YouTube
game 3.
link.
Okay, but which dragon fight?
Pretty sure it was the second or first one.
Okay.
But, to lighten the mood, Insaya, how did you feel about FlyQuest actually making the finals pre-C9 series? How did you feel about them kind of ramping up toward the losers bracket?
Before I answer that, I want to say first, Con, you actually brought up a lot of good points, and that was a good discussion, but I do need to think more about that before answering it more, because I actually haven't just heard that argument before.
But, about the practice?
Yeah, no.
I wanted to say one last thing on that.
Sure.
Listen, I think that practicing against high level competition and low level competition both have their merits. I disagree with the notion that practicing against people who are as good or better than you is bad or worthless. I think, like you said, would FlyQuest want to scrim against C9? Maybe some amount to get more looks because they could use all the looks they can get. But they probably also want to scrim their academy team to build up confidence. That's all I wanted to say on that.
No, it's fine. That's fine. James just came in. How you feeling, man?
How's it going?
You got Doublelift back. How you feeling about that?
I have no idea.
I think it's a
I
great
don't
thing.
think that's an important thing right now. I think what
Yeah.
you guys do is fucking get rid of Parth and fucking theater.
Don't
And then
worry.
We'll see what we can do.
Don't worry, guys. We'll talk about TSM in just a moment. But
Yeah, to answer your question that you asked me, I felt really good to see FlyQuest go to finals. I predicted in Hotline League that FlyQuest would make top 3 at the beginning of the split.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah, that was me. Kelby
Nice.
and Mark C thought I was pretty crazy. But, FlyQuest proved them wrong. And honestly, I don't even think it was that much of a hot take. I think people literally
No.
could have looked at the rosters and been like, it's PoE and Ignar. Power of Evil, pretty
Mhm.
much, in my opinion, did a lot of the carrying on CLG and tried his damn hardest to try to carry out that Optic roster into playoffs both times.
Yeah.
And
Your
Santorin
team
has
is the-
been like a solid jungle too. Like, I really don't get how people thought it was like they were gonna be 8th. I really didn't.
They looked at the top lane, is what they did.
Yeah, I mean,
Which-
a lot of
which-
it was abysmal, like prior to this one. But
Thing
still,
is-
like, Legend was rookie of the split before that too.
I think the thing is, FlyQuest did like level up a tier of team when they put in solo instead. Like I think
Yes.
while they were running with Viper, they were like maybe a C plus B minus team, and I think with solo they're like a B plus. So like they're not quite like in the A echelon. They're close. I think they need a true they just need a secondary carry lane for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, FlyQuest is the proud owner of the second best mid laner in North America.
Yeah.
So anytime you have that, I give the team a pretty good chance to win.
Yeah.
Like it's the most important position.
Yeah,
Definitely
honestly, just proud of the split overall, especially the branding too. Like, they're actually a proud
Mhm.
organization to support now.
Yeah.
When it comes to FlyQuest, I think Santorin is probably coming into this split has always been one of the most, I think, disrespected junglers in North America and EU. Only because I think he was like one of the first iterations of like the TSM War jungler idea, and so many people thought he was a jungler made by Bjergsen. That he's
Didn't
been
know Bjergsen
consistent.
made him.
His team that he's been on in NA, whether it be TSM, but even FlyQuest here recently and stuff, has always been consistently decent. And I remember, I think it was last year, like Meteos was put on the same team with Santorin, and people were just like, "How can they play Santorin over Meteos?" But he plays he's very expected, like with how he plays a consistent style. He's never going to kill you, but he may never carry you, but he's never going to kill you. He's going to do decently right things.
He's
And then
changed a little bit too. Like, sorry to interrupt, but the whole Santorin media thing that happened is that was the first split that got Santorin, and then they were like on a 2-3 game losing streak, and then they got rid of Con and they put in JJ, and then they started winning games. So I think arguably FlyQuest probably thought they still should have put in Meteos, but there might have been alternate factors. Like, I don't know. Like, quite honestly, I don't think Meteos really wanted to play for them. That's just my kind of guess. But I also think at the same time, when a team's on a winning streak and they were losing before, you don't want to stop the momentum. Momentum is everything in LCS, especially back then when Spring Split actually mattered. But Santorin has also kind of adopted more of he still, I think, is a disrespected jungler, and the fact that people can kind of be like, oh, he just kind of sits back and wards and farms and is just consistent but doesn't really carry you. This dude has been getting level 2 ganks on Trundle for the past, almost the entire playoff series against every team they've played against, maybe with the exception of C9. But, in the EG series, both of them, the Golden Guardian series and TSM, he's been a monster, and people haven't really respected that.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to watching that Evil Genius series, it this is my tale of FlyQuest when it at their high level play. It's like Power of Evil is going to be consistent. Santorin's going to be decently consistent. Solo and Wild Turtle are just they're the people they are on the team. It's you live by Ignar, you die by Ignar when it comes to FlyQuest's true potential. If Ignar is playing at that super high top, some of the best support in the world, because he's shown that. He showed that in the EG series a bit. He's shown that back when he was on Misfits against SKT. He's shown it on different points. If Ignar's able to play his best, he can 1v9 a game as support.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But also, when he plays not good, it is really not good.
Yeah, it's not good for them.
And
he's their star player. If he starts falling, then they start falling. It's super weird.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it was almost like a tale of two little things this weekend. It was he was by far, in my opinion, the major carry against EG with how he engaged and how well he played and stuff. And then I also think he was the weakest part of their series against Cloud9.
Yeah. Hold on. Didn't you know that? I'm not gonna throw shade. Never mind. So we had a whole hoopla about whether or not Ignar actually played well or he played garbage last week.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! It was a 30-minute discussion on did Ignar do something at 20 minutes in super right. I was like, okay. I mean,
I think Ignar in the C9 series picked champions that are just insanely hit or miss. I was kind of surprised why he didn't pick Thresh or Leona in game. Leona is kind of a counter to Nautilus, and you have more playmaking, in my opinion. But I guess in FlyQuest's mind that they kind of wanted to maybe just start snowballing with Ignar and keep Blabber behind. And I think they did an okay job within the first 20 minutes, but then later in the game, I when I was watching it, I was kind of tunnel visioning because I'm a FlyQuest fan. I'm like, oh damn, he played really good. He just missed a couple hooks. Then I looked. He missed a lot of hooks. He missed a lot of hooks in game one, and I heard that on Hotline League 2. I was like, really? And I just watched back, and yeah, he missed a lot of crucial ones, and that just comes down to the point where your Blitzcrank, the later the game goes, your Q, if you miss your Q, you don't really do much besides using your Ultra Break set shield. And then the Alistar pick, to me, I don't know. I just don't think Alistar's that good of a champ.
I mean, I think Alistar can be a good pick, but not with Aphelios. If it was with an MF or something, or even the Kalista. A Kalista Alistar bot lane can be super deadly. I just didn't think it was the right pick for that particular bot lane. Which is a shame. I wish we saw more Alistar because he's a really exciting champion.
It's just,
he's a fun champ.
It's just that I personally think that I play Yu-Gi-Oh, as you guys know. So at certain points during certain games, you guys know about power creep, how one thing just comes out and completely makes the other thing irrelevant. I think Riot will eventually do that with champions. When Rakan came out, people just didn't even know Alistar's name anymore. Set came out, no one knows who Garen is. I personally think they're gonna create champions to power creep other champions with better kits from those similar kits that those other champions had.
Maybe. Some champions have been overtuned, but they do it in our numbers. Thing is, they always want champions like Garen, extremely simple, basic champions that people can learn the game on, like Garen, Annie.
Yeah, Warwick at one point.
Jinx for the 80 carry role. They kept it. They did rework Warwick, but his identity as a very basic jungler who can sustain and be tanky and also do he's sort of the Frank's red hot sauce of the jungle. You can he just put that shit on any team comp. You know what I mean?
What if I like ketchup?
Well, then I don't know, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
I agree with you quite a bit there, and I think especially if you look AD carries and even a little bit supports, definitely AD carries of recent, there definitely has become a new, I don't know, power creep, but a new defining AD carry landscape. I mean, it happens pretty often too, so I don't want to say it's things are OP or not OP. It definitely could be balance-wise, but you look at this season with Senna, Aphelios, Misfortune kind of came back out of nowhere.
She's basic though.
But
she's very basic.
I mean, like, I meant like in the way though of like, if like the general way AD carry had been played in previous seasons, it feels like it changed like extremely a high amount this season. And I think if you look at supports a bit too, I think I would agree a little bit with that.
I do think though that people saying, "Oh, Rakan, why would you pick Alistar?" Thing is, yeah, they both go in and have crowd control and knock people up, but Alistar fills a very different role on a team because he can actually be a secondary tank, whereas Rakan is like, Rakan gets blown up. You have to use your abilities and then get out, and then you're sort of not doing anything while you're waiting for your cooldowns to go back up. Whereas an Alistar can he can EQ, he can ult, turn his W on, and start to go in and start stunning people, and he can actually live for a very long time and actually be in the team fight. So honestly, I think there. Go ahead. I just wanted to finish with like, yeah, there is going to be slight power creep, but all you have to do with some of these older champions, because even though when their kit is more basic, they tend to have more powerful abilities. You know what I mean? Like Alistar's Q is more powerful than Rakan's knockup, simply because it comes out faster. He can close a gap faster when combined with his E, and he can actually survive. So that part of him is more powerful, although he has less options. I just think there's a place in the game for both kinds of champions.
I think the actual champion, if you want to complain about why Alistar doesn't show up as much, I would actually put it more on Nautilus. Because I think in a lot of ways Nautilus does the same job as Alistar, but just a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And I think you just see supports that usually would go Alistar, just go Nautilus, because it's one of those situations where like if you hit your hook, you get that like knock up, close in gap type thing you get with Alistar. And then with his shield and slow, you get to be that tank that gets to close gap a little bit better.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think that's the champ that's taken Alistar's place more than Rakan.
Well, the thing is, Alistar is not restricted to one target CC though. He can actually knock up the whole team if they're grouped together. Like
Nautilus can too with ult. It's just a lot harder.
Yeah. I was saying, I think we saw Alistar was meta last year, right? And we saw people, pull off crazy Alistar plays. Like, he can absolutely get more mileage out of his basic abilities. Although, yeah, Nautilus does have his R, he does have his shield. But I think that even though they sort of occupy the same niche, kind of, there is still reasons to pick one over the other, such as if you think you might need a little more sustain in lane, Alistar can actually provide that. Nautilus really doesn't. Either he hits his hook pre-6 or he doesn't. And Alistar is also much better at protecting his AD carry from ganks because he has the knockup and he can bull rush people away. I just think there's legitimate differences between them and reasons to pick one over the other.
James, what do you think about that? About them power creeping champions eventually, maybe with other champions.
I feel like the thing is League right now, a lot of the way and the trajectory of the balance and the character creation team has gone is that I feel like the stance has been actually making champions that change the game more as, because you guys are talking more along the lines of like creating champions that do the same thing but do it better is what you're saying, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I feel like there has been another perspective where the balance team is actually, especially as of late with the most recent champion releases, it's been champions that just pretty much like innovate the game. Almost every champion they've released as of late has been like some type of like mechanic that hasn't been introduced yet, and that's kind of been like the flavor of the month for this year. So I don't know how it's going to be. Yeah, Silas.
Senna was supposed to redefine supports. She's being played in AD carry, but the way she plays AD carry is completely different than any other AD carry that's ever been released.
Right. And then Pyke was an assassin support. Every champion they released this year was either a hybrid or like a champion that played the game in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of been like the whole move, I feel, with Riot this year, and I would say probably the last 2 years, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna look up the champions by release date, and I think you're right.
Like,
Because
isn't Kaisa
Zoe-
kind of like a different vein? in a
yeah,
certain way?
Kaisa was supposed to be like an assassin style ADC. Apparently, she was probably where it all started. If you think about it, no, Zoe. Zoe came
because
before Kaisa, right?
Isn't Zoe technically a Syndra who can hit you at longer range, burst you, and then one-shot you? Isn't that kind of what they do?
Well,
Is
it's
it
not
who?
even that. It's the fact that she has
Who?
a fucking spell
Syndra-
thief mechanic.
Yeah, Syndra to
Zoe.
Zoe. Like, they're very, very similar, except Zoe's a lot more harder to learn.
But I think Zoe is where it started, where they started that,
Well,
that trend.
Well, the thing is, Zoe to Syndra. Syndra's more of a consistent. All right, she's not really consistent damage. She's bursty, but she's a much better team fighter than Zoe is,
Mhm.
because Zoe has exactly one damaging ability, unless you get something with her W. She's very much a poke mid laner. She's there to catch people out and to be a mid game carry, whereas Syndra is very much a late game scaling mid laner who's there to team fight. So their kits might appear kind of similar at first glance, but I actually disagree. Where like their functionality and how they play couldn't be more different, in my opinion.
Zoe kind of plays alone, to be honest. Like, her playstyle is making picks, so it's like oftentimes you'll see the Zoe go out of vision and try to make plays on her own, just to give your ally team a advantageous position.
Shout out to that Zoe last night that had 53 CS, 12 minutes in, and then the game goes 10 minutes longer. She still has 53 CS. Yep, guys.
Are we gonna talk about other teams today?
Oh, Kiana.
Yeah, in a little bit.
Yumi.
Oh yeah, Kiana too.
Yeah, Yumi, a support that just sticks onto their 80k carry, and
Mhm.
that's really cool.
All the
Nico
champions, I'm telling
with
you.
yeah,
Transform into
Nico.
others.
She has probably Zoe Ornn with his item creation and his
Yeah.
ornaments.
You see what I mean now?
Kane transforms.
This whole year, well, these past 2 years, pretty much, we're just
Yeah, this
champions
is all that
that
I could.
had something
Yeah.
new.
I mean, I think if you look back more and more enough, every champion feels a lot different, and like it is. I know it is because I have friends that worked at Riot, and work at Riot, and I know that their goal on the champion creation team is to create champions that are different and have like a unique type player feel to them. You don't really ever want two champions that feel like they're doing the same type of thing, and you obviously want them to kind of bring something new in some aspects.
Yeah, like
and
the last basic bitch champion they released was Jinx. That was 2013. Because after that, immediately was Yasuo, Vel'Koz, Braum, Gnar, Azir, Kalista, Rek'Sai, Bard, Echo, Tahm Kench, Kindred, Alawi, Jhin, Aurelion Sol, yada yada yada. They've all been really different.
Like, even back then with Jinx, it was a totally different type of AD carry. She was one of the first AD carries that had like a snare. She had a slow. She had two different type of guns.
Yeah.
You had an executable long distance range ult. Back then you were playing things like Ezreal or Corki or
Graves bot lane. That used to be a thing.
Ash,
Graves,
Caitlyn.
Yeah, Ash.
Can we get
Jinx was even like a huge different thing.
Can we get
carries?
Can we get a eulogy for Graves real fast? Man can't find a break into the meta.
I heard that he's supposedly super OP right now, especially in solo queue.
They're running him now.
Oh, right, because they buffed the fuck out of farming now in the jungle, which means Graves can be a champion.
Oh, you guys love the Karthus nurse? It's like minus 10 MS. It's great.
They need to just nerf his R.
They need to delete Shaco, and then I'll have fun in solo queue again. But that's just
Delete
me.
Shaco on TFT.
Or nerf his AoE, nerf his ability to farm jungle camps. Basically, is what you need to do. Like have him do like maybe 80% damage to jungle camps or large monsters.
Just
Because Yumi is fine.
Yumi's not.
Yumi has a giant weakness against hook champions where if you hook one person, you just get both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the change they made to her that if she gets knocked up with CC, she can't automatically just W to another person now. That
Oh
was
my
one of
god,
favorite changes.
thank you.
But the biggest thing, I mean, yeah, and you can say, well, it's your fault you let Yumi get the late game, but what do you do? Like, in a specific game in particular, the first game against FlyQuest and TSM at the beginning of the split, FlyQuest in no way in hell should have won that game. But FlyQuest picked a scaling comp, and TSM literally could do nothing because Ignar was jumping from Ornn to PoE to Turtle, giving them 500 or like 400, 500 HP shields every 2-3 seconds. That shit's insane.
Is that worse than a Soraka pressing a W on one ally who's at a quarter health and just bringing them to full immediately in a
But the
team
thing is that
fight?
Soraka doesn't go inside somebody. Like,
I think
you
Yumi's
can
busted as fuck.
Yumi is
she-
busted, isn't she?
Like she has a really weak early game. If you can just totally fucking like
Even at
bone
the
her
hook
early.
game, too, if she gets 6,
But-
you try to hook her in, they just ult you.
Yeah.
She just does that. Ugh, fucking hate that champion. Yumi, Shaco, and Zyra. I just hate those champions. I just don't like them. They're just not fun to play against.
Listen,
I just hate
if we want
champions that don't die.
to talk about, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's all I was saying. I feel like whenever I'm playing in solo queue, that's like one of the biggest things because I play mid, so I'm like always trying to like eliminate threats and like create like advantages, and it's like I really hate when champions have a mechanic where they just can't fucking die. It's like so irritating.
Yeah,
That's
you
why
know,
Yumi
one
is
thing is,
kind of annoying sometimes. Once it gets
Yeah.
to, she really doesn't become an issue unless like they win lane or they get to like mid game or mid to late game. That's when she becomes an issue. But like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like when she does get to that point in the game,
yeah,
whoever she
fucking
attaches to is unstoppable.
a Luden's Echo and a Fiends on a fucking Yumi is kind of obnoxious. But you know what is the real fucking power creep ability on a champion that needs to be fucking removed from the game?
What?
Can we talk about Zoe's fucking W for a second?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah,
That
random
ability-
redemptions, random proto belts.
Random gun blades. That's the real
Random
fucking one.
fucking Hextech GLP.
Why can you pick up Smite and at level 3 walk over to the enemy jungler's blue buff and just smite it away from him?
Yeah, that's true.
Why does it also give you move speed for some reason?
It's an inbuilt ninja.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
when you use it.
Yeah, that ability is not balanced
Holy
whatsoever.
shit! You know what I just realized? You could take fucking unflinching on Zoe, and you could also
Yeah.
take like what's the other one? Nimbus Cloak and like
She already has
TP.
Nimbus Cloak. Oh god, yeah, TP.
Yeah,
and
she
Nimbus
could
Cloak
she
and
could
your
use the
W.
TP from the
Oh,
Spell Thief and then
too fast.
have Nimbus Cloak. Yeah,
I can't
and
believe
then-
Go ahead.
I was just saying you could go like fucking secondary resolve with unflinching and like not be ZC'd basically. Or
Yeah,
running
so-
towards somebody full speed with Nimbus
Yeah.
Cloak.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Everything about Zoe is disgusting. And not enough people play Fizz to save us from this menace.
She's countered by
Because Fizz is really the actual true counter to Zoe, honestly.
a lot of people in Korea play set into her too.
Really.
Yeah,
That's
Faker
sort
was
of weird.
playing. So people don't really know, but like I've been watching LCK and LPL. People play set mid a lot into a lot of like popular meta like mids,
They
just
try.
because like he doesn't really win. He's kind of like Rumble. Like, he doesn't really lose lane to like any like mids really. It's like really weird.
Doesn't get straight poked out by like shit like Syndra and Azir and Vigar.
Yeah, but if he like freezes and then he has like jungle 2v2 assist, like he just with his W like in his fucking his E, just like pulling them into him. He's basically like he kind of plays the lane like the same way that Galio does, except he can't really die.
Gap close.
Use a W, right? Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Kled.
how does he freeze? Like, say I play Vigar, and I just put a ward on one side of the river, and I just push the wave because I get to be ranged, and he doesn't. And if he tries to walk towards me in any fashion, I can just put down the cage. Like,
the other thing is like most people that play him don't actually play him like as like a carry. They play him as like a bruiser or a tank. So they'll like build like fucking Spirit Visage and like Wit's End and all these items basically. So
What
then
champ are we talking about?
set.
but
Okay.
Like basically when they pick a mid, what I'm saying, like they pick him to pretty much nullify the mid laner. The
right,
enemy mid laner. So it's like he kind of like fits this role where he doesn't die to the enemy mid laner, and he has like a CC. He's basically like a CC bot that can like take them out of the fight with his ult.
I believe you. I just can't believe he just doesn't get poked out of lane relentlessly.
Every time though that I've seen in LCK though, that like Faker I've seen play mid set versus like Zoe like 3 times I think this season. For some reason, he like picks that champion into Zoe like pretty often, and he'll run a Fleet Footwork instead of Conqueror for like the movement.
Oh, it's a
speed.
sustain.
Yeah,
The sustain and the movement
and to
speed.
kind of tether for abilities. Yeah,
Let's
See-
be honest,
see-
Ravioli. What happens when you try poking out Set is you do some poke on him, and then he'll build up his rage, and then he'll just throw his W out, and like if somebody like Vigar will just end up losing a third of their health or half of their health just by that.
it depends too. Like for example, if you time it right, then you win the trade. But then almost worst case scenario, you're always going to be like even, because even if they damage you, right, they will do the damage, but then the damage will go through your W shield, and then they'll take damage because they're standing in front of your W in the true damage like line.
Right.
So it's like pretty much you either get an advantageous trade or
I just find it hard, like say with the Vigar example, I just find it hard to believe that the set is capable of, without the help of a jungler, actually fighting the Vigar. Because yeah, he can go for a
is
trade.
probably, like the hardest one. That's why I get
Yeah, yeah, it's probably not a great example, but but you brought up the Zoe. The Zoe makes a ton of sense, honestly, because Zoe has
But
one
Zoe-
ability.
Yeah,
Has
Zoe
one ability to clear
is,
waves and trade.
Yeah,
So
I feel like if
what-
you talk about the guaranteed stages, is probably a little bit harder, like Vagar and like Annie and these like point and click ones, because it's really
What-
not.
With multiple abilities that do damage, so they can
Yeah.
actually clear the wave with one and keep the other one up in case you come into range. Like
Yeah,
Like-
exactly.
you would think that like Syndra can just
Who cut out?
Hello,
Hello?
Really cut out.
Hello.
He cut out.
that was weird.
That was really weird.
Maybe this is the world telling us to stop talking about Set.
That's gonna be our new fucking Moralonomicon fucking Leandri's Torment argument.
I get what he's saying though.
Yeah.
All of the mages that have like a point and click, it's probably like it would probably be really bad to pick into them.
But yes, did you guys watch the LEC finals by any chance?
I only
did, it was
catch
pretty weird.
like I quote unquote watched it. I had it on while I was like kind of doing work, but I did see TT just roll Fnatic and Fnatic picking Zaptop. Was it 3 games in a row or was it 2?
Those two.
Okay, yeah, Blippo looked horrible in that series.
My
honestly.
God, dude, I'm happy because
Yeah,
I like G2 as well, and I just love seeing the Fnatic fan just cry when they're just saying stupid excuses like, "Oh yeah, G2 didn't play that well. We just inted right into them." Like, okay, dude, whatever. You know what I mean? Just give respect where it's due. You know what I mean? Like, you lost. Just admit you lost. Like, come on.
My
Who?
opinion of the EU LEC thing is exactly what I talked about last week. Is it's just a horrible playoff bracket system, and
Actually, explain. Hold on. Actually, explain that because people were getting a little crazy. They're like, "What does he mean?" So, can you explain that?
okay, so I guess this is even perfect because it happened both in North America and the LEC this week. But you have teams. So the way the current playoff bracket works in both North America and LEC, it's like double elimination, but not really. The fifth and sixth seed don't get to, rightfully so, don't get like a second chance. You have the first seed play either like the fourth or third seed, whoever they choose, and the second seed plays whatever the other team is. The losers of that then plays the fifth and the sixth. You have the two teams that won the first winners bracket win. The winner plays and gets to go to finals. The loser one gets a second chance in the second bracket. And like what I don't like with this is like the number one reason why people are like, we need this because it's going to show us who the best team is. You know, we have scenarios where like the pre-final matchup, I don't know if you want to call it semifinal or the last game of the losers bracket. You had two teams going up against each other for the second time, and in both cases, the team that lost the first matchup won the second matchup. And some people will say, "Well, that's good. The upset didn't ruin the thing." And it's like, well, which one's an upset? Which one's not? Because there's you can make obviously you can make a case G2 got upset and blah blah blah, but you can also make the same case that Evil Geniuses got upset compared to FlyQuest this weekend. That Evil Geniuses
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish.
and so much and so forth. And I don't like that aspect. You know, you have two teams who play each other twice in the playoffs, and they both go 1-1. You know, I don't like having that evenness at all. I'd much rather have one series where a winner goes on and the loser's out. I just think it's fundamentally a better, just overall better viewing experience and a better, overall thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other part I hate is the fact that a team wins their first two rounds of playoffs, and because they won the first two rounds of playoffs, they don't get a second chance like other teams. So Fnatic, yes, they got their butts pounded in by G2, and I think G2 played really well, and they deserved to win that series.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Fnatic at that point were like 6-1 in playoffs, and because they went 6-1, it meant they don't have they don't get a second chance. G2 played a horrible first round, but because G2 played their bad series in the very beginning, it didn't cost them their playoff bracket. But Fnatic might have had their one bad series in the finals. Well, they don't get a second chance. They don't get to get that second chance that your G2 did.
Right.
And I hate that type of playoff bracket and system, and it just needs to be gone immediately. It just needs to be gone.
So I disagree. I do think that needs a slight tweak, but here's the thing: G2 is clear after it's all said and done is the best team in Europe, and a losers bracket. Yeah, they got upset in one round, but then swiftly won every single round after that. Thing is, if they just had a single bad series against Mad Lions, then we don't get the best team winning. So I disagree that it's worse. I do think that we can give the winners of the winners bracket a advantage. So I think what they should do should be a best of 7 in the finals, and the winners bracket should just have a game already in the pocket. So that the
it's like with
so the winner.
does actually.
It's not just a boulder. It's a rock. A rock. A rock. It's a big, beautiful old rock. Oh, the pioneers used to ride these babies for miles, and it's a great
and you're in the finals, you only have to win 3 games to win the series. And if you're coming from the losers bracket, you need to win 4. And that gives us the second chances for teams that might just have a bad series, or maybe anything else could have gone wrong, and they get to come back. But they do have to go uphill. They do have to go that extra mile.
Like,
And-
people will say that G2 was the best, blah blah blah. But like, let's say if if that wasn't G2 and Fnatic, let's say if that was FlyQuest and C9.
Mhm.
How would you feel as a C9 fan through this whole entire season? Would you really be here saying, "Man, the best team really won with this, even though they lost in the first round and they prevailed and they were able to win the final, so they're clearly the best team."
I mean, but that didn't happen.
And
Like-
at the
No.
same time, too, I mean, you're also kind of forgetting. Yeah, I can agree that if that scenario did happen, and like if theoretical C9 fan or something, it would feel unfair, I guess. But here's the thing: FlyQuest had to play back-to-back games, like a day, Saturday, Sunday. Like the whole point of this losers bracket thing is, yes, you can lose, but you have to go through much more teams. Sure, you get more experience and such, but you're playing against a team that's had, I don't know, was it a week or like 5 days, 4 days? Marginally more time than you, and you have 1 day to prepare against C9. 1 day.
C9 didn't know who they were playing until that day of FlyQuest won, so they didn't exactly have 5 days to prepare just for FlyQuest.
I mean,
I
they
mean,
did.
they-
Thing is, they either play the team they just sent to the losers bracket, or
the other
they
guy.
play the other guy. They're already prepped for EG. I assume you would just prep for basically refresh for your prep for EG, and then have a full prep for FlyQuest. It's just
Either way, it's just a horrible system. I honestly don't think there's any way of defending it. There's a reason why it's not in the World Cup, the Olympics, in NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, UEFA, Euro. It's not a
hold
thing
up.
because it's a horrible, horrible system.
What Con is
No,
talking
it's not.
What
So-
Con is talking about is creating playoff hype. Like the first game you play should matter, and then the winner from that about it mattering should move on. While the loser, if you lose on that day, you're just out. Is that what you're talking about? Just creating playoff hype in general? Because
I think playoff hype's a big thing, but like look at the LCS things. Who is the better team, FlyQuest or EG?
I
hard-
think
that's
FlyQuest.
It's a tough question, actually.
Well, why would you say
so-
FlyQuest?
No, okay, here.
So they have the better mid jungle duo. They have their bot lanes are pretty similar, but FlyQuest has the edge in their support. Their support is much better, and their top laner was better.
Insa?
Like,
Okay,
The
like-
result that they
like-
showed
like-
during
like-
the playoffs
like-
was they were literally even. They were 4-4 against each other in 8 games. They both won a series 3-1.
they played Viper the first 2 games.
I don't like having
In the
that in
first
playoffs
series.
where you can sit and look at teams literally go 500 against each other, but because this team won the second chance, they are the ones that isn't eliminated.
EG statistics.
It's just a bad system.
I
No,
disagree.
it's not. FlyQuest literally played a different top laner. Jizuke literally said in the interview after Game 3, "Oh yeah, once they introduced Solo, the game became much harder." Solo had not
Yeah.
played against EG ever. He hadn't played in the regular season. Both times Viper played in the regular season. It was a different team. It's a different player.
Right, and it's just the other thing is you're listing things like, oh, they went even, and the one who won second won. I don't see why that's an issue. Like,
It's gonna feel like whenever you have a team miss out on Worlds for a 3 seed despite going 500, and they miss out because they lost the second matchup.
they lost, but they lost. Like, so
The first team lost too, exactly.
hmm
They both lost to each other and they went even.
He's talking
But
about
because-
basically you don't get the actual right team because they're both basically equal.
I disagree. They both lost. So even though one beat the other one earlier in the tournament, the fact is we can argue all day and night. Maybe neither of them should have been there then.
That could be
So-
better too.
Like,
Or maybe
they
the
both
tournament
lost.
should be single elimination, and if you lose, you're out because
I don't like that. I don't like that.
That there should
So-
be a status of expectation. Sports are
Also-
always going to have upsets and stuff, right? So as an EG fan, EG expected. Oh, we've gone 5-1 against FlyQuest in every single game we've played against them, and we're playing them again. Yes, they have a new top laner, but we're 5-1 against them, and we pretty dominantly beat them. We should beat them. FlyQuest beats them. FlyQuest is the better team. EG was expected to win. FlyQuest won. EG is not the better team. It's as simple as that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Then again, EG was able to take a game off Cloud9 and FlyQuest couldn't. So you can arguably say that EG is easily a better team because when they both lost to the same people, EG lost 3-1 to FlyQuest, FlyQuest lost 3-1 to EG. The only big difference is EG lost 3-1 to C9, where FlyQuest lost 3-0 to C9.
Okay, EG won one game. What happened in all the other 3 games? They got washed. FlyQuest game 1 was close. FlyQuest could have won. Yeah, they got 3-0'd, and they did worse than EG. I really don't see much of a difference.
Yeah, I also want to really bring up this point, because you said, oh, why don't any of these sports use the losers bracket system? Alright, so traditional sports aren't like esports, where you can just smash games all the time. Like in football, you can't play game after game after game. There's a physical toll on your body that doesn't allow that.
Almost all these sports play hundreds of games a year in their regular season.
Right.
So football, I can maybe understand.
Well, hundreds,
baseball, hockey, soccer, they're usually playing hundreds of games in a year if you're a playoff team.
Right.
NBA is 82 games per season, and if every game went 7, that would barely be, like, I don't know, barely under 200 if every game was the best of 7. I mean, if every game went to...
I would say
a little bit.
In baseball, you can't have a losers bracket in the playoffs because we already play into November. If you add another 2 weeks of playoff games for a losers bracket, we're playing in the snow, which we can't do. There's a weather limitation as well. But football is just too taxing. Basketball college basketball. They use honestly the worst way to determine a champion, which is single elimination giant bracket.
Yeah,
it's viewed as one of the best. It's viewed as one of the best tournaments and experiences
for fans, because it's exciting to see the better team lose.
Money for teams and ecosystems and keeps things around to make money. Something that the LCS does not do very well.
All right, but if we're talking about what's the best system to determine the best team, having your best teams play a bunch of rapid fire, a bunch of games against schools they've never seen before, who, honestly, if we cut it down to something more akin to the NBA playoffs, where we have, 6 teams on each side of the bracket, then those teams never get a chance to tell because they actually have to play a series. It's a single game. Like, anybody can upset in a single game. People like March Madness because the best teams lose. That's why we like watching March Madness, because it's unpredictable.
Now, can I ask a question to that?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
But doesn't that create hype around that the best team is not safe? Like, the system he's talking about is that the best teams, or what is perceived as the best teams, are safe by the system. So you should be punished if you play bad, is what he's talking about. What about that one?
Alright, so the thing is, right now we're talking about 2 different objectives for a playoff series. Do we want hype and danger, or do we want a better, or the most effective way to determine the best teams?
You really can.
Yeah, you can. The losers brackets is the way to do that. Like, you look at most esports. Most esports have losers brackets.
Where's the Riot esports?
Huh?
Which one?
CS:GO. CS:GO has it.
Smash
has it. Overwatch has it.
Riot esports.
All way behind Riot esports.
Has never had
I'm not sure. Melee has it. Melee was one of the bigger esports for like the past 5 years.
Game does that.
Yeah.
All of those things are monumentally millions of viewers behind League esports.
Sure, because it was League of Legends just took over the planet for a long time. Like, here's the thing.
Smash has been out longer than League of Legends, though. Smash has been out since like 2002.
Not each iteration of the game. There was Smash 64, then there was Melee, then there was Brawl, Then there was Smash
There's
4.
completely
Now there's
different
Ultimate.
competition
And yeah,
players.
yeah, they're all completely.
One.
Yeah, they all have different followings. People still play Melee. People still play 64 competitively. But they each 64. I mean, it's a totally different game.
Yeah.
Just you're saying that it's a horrible system with what sounds like no redeeming qualities, and I just disagree with that really harsh, like, no wiggle room take, because there is advantages to this.
I just want this. I personally, like, even in your NCAA system, it almost always comes out that one of the teams that wins is a team that has not had a bad game over a 6-game process. For a lot of them, they win the championship still. So a 10, 12-game tournament structure. I think you're setting a bad precedent by saying your best team is allowed to lose and potentially come back through a loser's bracket. If you're the best team, you shouldn't lose at all.
You shouldn't lose at all. So
Like,
should
you
we
shouldn't
just
lose your
make?
series at all. You're playing a best of 5. If you lose a best of 5 to Mad Lions in the first round, you know what? You deserve to be out of the tournament. You deserve to be out of the LEC playoffs. In fact, in a way, we lost a chance at better history, because if there wasn't double elimination for G2, you would have had probably one of the top 10 or top 5 biggest upsets in League of Legends esports. Instead, with this double elimination, you just have this meh. Oh, cool, G2 came back and won. They 3-0'd Fnatic. Haha, Fnatic bad.
I don't know. It's
Like-
everyone seemed pretty hyped about it and talked about it for a long time after it happened.
My thing with the winners bracket is that you just give the person who made it all the way through another chance to win. Like, so say if G2 beat Fnatic, which we just saw last week, give Fnatic another chance. That would make it a little bit better for the winner side. But in terms of creating hype around the playoffs, I mean, he's not wrong. I've had friends that say the exact same thing he just did. My JTH, the guy that with the channel, he said the exact same things. It's because he doesn't really create hype around a match. Like, it doesn't create any sort of, like, upset danger. Like the MSI format we liked last year, remember? Where TL beat IG. Everybody was loving that one. Well, what if TL had to beat IG again? That kind of is like, we don't really think that's going to happen, right? So...
maybe not.
Yeah, see, I mean, but yeah, you're right too. Like, we don't know.
If they were a better team at that point, they would have.
Yeah. Inso
Listen.
So only the better team wins the second matchup? Is that what we're concluding from you guys?
The more games you play between two teams, and the more that your strategies become laid bare in the games, the better team starts to pull away over time. That's
where I disagree, because it's one of the things you see even in professional sports. It's hard to be a team that beats another team multiple times. A lot of times when you see an NFL, especially with like NFL and playoffs, or it's harder with NBA because they play so many games. But like, there's so many times in the NFL where a team might go 2-0 against a divisional opponent, or 1-0, like they'll beat said team in the regular season, and it comes playoffs, and they lose. They lose in the playoffs because we're really, really hard to consistently, beat a very good team multiple times.
Well, in the NFL, I'm not sure that's a good example, because people don't appreciate exactly the level of parity that actually exists in the NFL. Most teams are not actually substantially better than the teams around them.
It's hard to say, but what about, like, did the Rams 2-0 to, like, beat the Patriots in the regular season, but then lost them in the finals, and the Rams were supposed to be the champions that year? If you go back and watch power rankings, then Rams were supposed to be the champions, but they choked against the Patriots, so should they get another chance to face the Patriots then?
No, because they don't play series. Like, they're not even in the same conference. So the Rams beat the Patriots one time in one game in the regular season. But
when it mattered, they lost.
Yeah, in the playoffs in the Super Bowl, because they play one game, because playing a series in American football would be madness.
Oh, yeah.
In 16 games of football, you are expected to have probably at least 24 injuries on your team because of how the physical toll it takes. That's why I just don't want to use the NFL as like comparisons to League of Legends esports, because they're just apples and oranges as far as how you structure your season and your playoffs.
I think the big
Hold on.
game
Compared to
can
the
be
Legends esports
15 to
closer tennis.
45 minutes, and other sports take like 3 hours for one game,
Mhm.
or 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
League is like early as 15, late is maybe an hour, but on average like 35 minutes. Again, I think that's just it is literally apples and oranges.
Con?
I compare the way league's esports structure is closer to a tennis game, like a 5-set tennis game, where each set is a game. But then again, tennis doesn't have double elimination either, so
I love tennis, man. And
what do I know about that?
Good lord. If League had a tennis system, that'd be pretty cool. But, you know. James? James? Are you alive?
Discord's being funky. He might not know that
Let me turn him down.
that he can't hear. Yeah.
We turn him down a little bit so we don't hear him like consistently doing that. I don't know. It's really hard to say. So we'll just go top to bottom. What do you guys think about the system? Insa, what would you do about the system? Would you keep it or throw it away?
I would keep it. I think literally, I mean, I don't know the right way how to even answer the argument of, oh well, okay, if someone lost in losers bracket but they win in the finals should get another chance. I just don't think that's true. If you go in the finals and you're winning your first matchups and you're getting your buys, you are expected to win. Usually, you're expected to win. I don't think it was unfair at all that Fnatic can't fight G2 again. They got 3-0'd. If Fnatic was the better team, they would beat G2, in my opinion. Upsets
Or at
yes
least-
do happen, or at least it would have been closer. Yeah, I don't think like, and honestly, as a fan perspective, it would be so weird to be like, okay, here's semifinals, then here's the finals, here's the other grand finals in case the team that's in the winners bracket loses, so then they get the even part of like you can lose one game but still advance. No, if you're the better team and you get to finals and you can't go to the losers bracket at that point and you lose, you lose. I think that's completely fair.
Although I do think I like my idea of going to a 7-game series and just having the winners bracket having a game up.
I didn't
'Cause it
know
does-
that about the LPL, and I think that's really cool. I think
Yeah.
if LCS did want to change something, that's something they should look at. But I don't think LCS is going to change this.
Well, yeah. Why don't we have a 7-game set for our championship game anyway?
Why don't we go back to best of threes in the regular season?
Oh,
Yeah.
floods! Preaching to the choir over here.
Yeah, I
we
wish
all,
we
we all
did.
agree with that. My feelings on it is I just take what Insea says and apply it to every single game. If you're a better team, why does it matter if you lose in this one round? Why should you get a second chance because you lose early on? So I take what he just said there about the final and apply it to every matchup. That's how I personally.
Well, not
feel.
every matchup is in the playoffs.
Yeah, not every.
I meant it's playoff matchups, like every playoff matchup. Like every, it's not just the final that I think should be like, if you're the better team, you should win. Otherwise, don't quit your crying. It should be every matchup that happens during the playoffs.
The thing is, I like having. I mean, well, we were. I feel like we're about to be running around in circles on this. I think we should just
My
respect.
personal best format is the gauntlet style, because I think that really does give you the best team, while also providing like a pretty fair assessment. That's
That's
entertaining
what
as you go through.
LCK does, right? LCK does like a gauntlet style, or is that LPL?
Yes.
LCK.
LPL kind of does one, but it's really LCK that.
Because LCK is the whole thing where it's like the A seed has to play like the seventh, sixth, fifth, or like the seventh.
Yeah,
the sixth,
you have your
fourth,
best
second,
of
or whatever.
3 playoff round first and shit.
I mean, I can also argue for that to be changed too. It's just like I personally think that the winners losers thing is fine. I just think anything is better than the old system, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to say on this before I go to the next topic?
Yeah, we're running in circles. Let's go to the next topic.
But what if I want to run into your heart?
You're
where you find it.
already there. You're already there.
Con, how could I run into your heart?
I can't even find it myself. So.
Oh my god! Holy shit! Insa, how could I run into your heart?
Get a new ADC for FlyQuest.
You know, I'll tackle on that.
Sneaky.
I'll tackle on that myself because
Sneaky.
people might be watching and going, "Why does he want to replace Turtle? They just made second place." Because that's what you do when you lose. You don't keep doing the same thing. It's literally how that works.
It's not even that. It's like I love Jason, I love Turtle, and like I want to be careful with my words because like you know people forget that pros are fucking human too, and no one ever feels good to be like, oh yeah, they should replace that guy. Like, and I don't like to say that, but it's just literally like FlyQuest's whole thing, in my opinion, is not gonna. I'm not like convinced that it's gonna work as well as it did in summer. Team Liquid is probably gonna get better. TSM. I think TSM can go either way. EG could go either way. But FlyQuest, I like that whole Ica interview means a lot to me. FlyQuest has a pretty one-dimensional playstyle.
Yeah.
Like, unless they like try picking solo anything other than the gentleman's trade right now of Orin Aatrox set, and like I don't know, put him on GP again, or just try to carry through other lanes. Like, there's only so much you can do by putting so much trust in Ignar and PoE. And yes, Turtle has had good games, and Turtle has had bad games, but it has been multiple times the split that FlyQuest does something good with Turtle, and then Turtle goes and pushes like top or bot and just dies for no reason, or he just holds onto his flash and just dies. And like he's just like, you know, people were talking about how Viper was always down in lane. And then I'm like, dude, look at Turtle. And people say, oh, well, Ignar roams all the time. I'm like, dude, Cody Sun has done almost the same shit as Turtle, and he's never that far behind. Like,
Here's the tragic part about your options. So because you have Ignar and PoE, let's say if TL doesn't go for sneaky and they just stick with tactical, you guys can't even pick up Kabe. Your options are limited. So that's why I think sneaky, because listen, he's a better version of Turtle. He is paired up with a support that actually complements him, because Ignar can be aggressive in the laning phase. And the thing is, you can bank on sneaky in the mid to late game to carry team fights.
Koff, you can also bank on sneaky for branding, Koff.
Yeah, branding.
You get
and guess what?
You get branding.
Yeah, the thing is, Sneaky's personality also fits perfectly into FlyQuest. He really does. You know, he's the most
paid player on FlyQuest. Turtle, $700,000.
Yeah, cut him.
$700,000. Or what? Okay,
if Sneaky,
that's what the ESPN thing estimates.
I should hang myself when I hear that shit.
So, do you think, James?
What's up?
Oh, my bad. Insta. My bad. I'm sorry. Everyone's new. He's the FlyQuest fan. Would you be okay with FlyQuest spending 30% more? Say Sneaky wants to come for $1 million. Would you be down to get Sneaky for a 1.5 year deal? So this next split and 1 year afterwards. Yeah, and then
I would be down to get Sneaky.
And then I'd say if you guys pick up let's say, do we know if Hooney's contract is guaranteed?
No Hooney.
Shit,
I was going to say, what I was going to say, hold on. Here's what if you can pick him up for basically nothing?
No,
he's not a resident.
No, because
he's considered an import.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's the other thing too.
He spent time in Korea.
Yeah, I personally think FlyQuest, if they want to win, I think they should replace Wild Turtle. But do I think they will? No, because FlyQuest's brand image is their whole Go Green initiative and everything, and they're doing this thing called like Saving the Wild Turtles, I think. So it's pretty evident they want to keep Turtle there. They want to keep Turtle there for a while. And Turtle has mentioned on stream he's been there for a long time. He feels very comfortable at FlyQuest. I think it's pretty evident that FlyQuest wants to keep him. I think one of the ways FlyQuest works as an organization, and Nisky said this too, FlyQuest is never late to scrims, they would never dodge scrims, they were a good team, and they would always try. FlyQuest is that team where it's like, people tell me, oh, just get Doublelift over Turtle. I don't want fucking Doublelift on FlyQuest, no offense. Like, you know, I think Doublelift as a player causes so many problems for a team. Yes, he won some championships, but dude, like, how do you have one bad split after winning 4 titles and then you get traded?
Right, he has issues.
Hold on.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot more going on there than just the issue.
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole Lena thing.
Yeah,
it's not Lena. The big reason why TL's probably trading Doublelift in this aspect is his contract is coming up in 6 months, and you see this all the time in professional sports where
You don't want to lose them.
You have a player that is going to be leaving your team most likely.
Yeah.
You trade them at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
To try and get something back for him. For
Right.
that, a little bit.
Right.
And I have to imagine they're going to get a decent bit from TSM, whether it be money or maybe they'll just take TSM's whole academy roster. That's what I would ask for if I was.
One thing I'm going to add is that James, what do you think about FlyQuest for next split? Do you think they'll have the same success they had this split? I think James is dead.
James side.
So I'll chime in.
Sure.
While he gets back on. So I'm not sure that FlyQuest is so dead set on keeping Turtle. I do think they want to win. I think the front office recognizes that they have to make upgrades. Like, they look at C9 and they realize, well, we have to keep improving if we want to get to that level. And
One thing. Sorry to chime in. One thing I know for certain is they're not going to replace him in summer.
maybe not. It depends what opportunities present themselves. Listen, I'm just saying.
Mhm.
So you get Sneaky, and you have PoE and Santorin as your mid 2v2. That's your early to mid game engine, and Sneaky becomes your secondary carry. The game isn't focused on him. Him and Ignar might win in the bot lane, but it's not necessary for them to do so. And then all of a sudden, you have a very, very strong fighting team.
Yeah.
I just think it's a no-brainer. I really do. And if a bunch of schmucks sitting here doing a podcast can figure this out, I'm pretty sure the people in the front office all can recognize that. I think it all comes down to whether or not Sneaky is willing to sign with FlyQuest.
Well, here's the thing with Sneaky is he has to be bought out, and knowing what some of the buyouts for players have been of lesser amounts, they're looking at millions, if not $2 million, for somebody like Sneaky's caliber.
Wait, is Sneaky's contract up?
Hold on.
I'm
I'll
pretty
look
sure
it
you
up.
can buy him. Oh, wait, because remember he said he's a owner advisor of C9's role. So could he be an advisor of Cloud9 and then play for FlyQuest?
No. He would have to basically be let go and then re-signed after he was done playing.
I think if you want to upgrade FlyQuest's bot, fuck, they have Power Wheel and Ignar. I was gonna say Kabe. I don't think he's.
No, you can't.
I think the big thing with FlyQuest is, I think you come into this next split with Solo, and, situation, whether they can get an import or not, given the whole immigration and permanent residency ban and being not doing permanent residency right now, I wonder if this is going to affect the LCS in any way. I know a lot of players get green cards before the start of a season, but there are cases where in the summertime and in the middle of the season, teams do have players that get green cards during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there's going to be any type of potential effect of any imports here soon, or any imports who might have went home over, if they didn't make playoffs or they're out of playoffs and stuff. I don't think any did, but you never know if they did or didn't.
Mhm.
But I think if you're FlyQuest, I think you just try to build on the synergy between your top, mid, and support, and you just keep working out Solo, because Solo has shown from when he's taken the role to later on that he's been improving more and more. And you don't really see too many teams, unless they're playing set, carrying through top lane. You have Aatrox and stuff sometimes pop off, but it's not like you're getting consistent top laners like Kled or, Vladimir, Aurelia. It's kind of become a new stale top lane meta of 3 champions.
Yep.
So I think FlyQuest is fine.
I'm not sure I agree. They were shown to just not be good enough to beat the top team. If you're not good enough to beat the top team, you have to improve. Their ceiling right now is not high enough. You have to improve.
I think there's a couple arguments you take. People could say, "Oh, you only had Solo for 3-4 weeks compared to the whole season." So he meshed, but did he really mesh completely? But I also think at the same time, as much as personally I would rather see a change, I think chemistry is a huge thing, because PoE mentioned one of the reasons why he went to FlyQuest was Santorin and Wild Turtle's willingness to try new stuff and Loco Doco talked about this too. Wild Turtle actually played mid main before he played ADC. And Turtle, even though he played Syndra bot, that game looked really horrible when he played it. They said he was actually really, really good in it in scrims. And Loco said Turtle was one of the only people in NALCS willing to try mage bot lanes besides like Sven and stuff. So I think like it's a double-edged sword of like I personally think Flycus should replace Turtle. I don't think Turtle is like losing them games. I just think yes, the whole ceiling argument. I think Flycus hadn't hit their ceiling this season. Like it's not like okay, they could beat everyone else with C9. You know, congratulations, no one could. But I think it was just they didn't have Solo in for the whole time, and Solo is still displaying some of the problems he had on Echo Fox, of where, like, I think he's been playing really good this split, but, like, Solo is really prone to just getting ganked a lot and not respecting his laners, and that has been a consistent problem. It wasn't just that Echo Fox was shit, it's a consistent thing that's still happening.
One thing that I'll say is, once they eventually get rid of Wild Turtle, that's gonna be the whole sneaky thing again. The same double if shit. I'm foreseeing it 2 years from now. FlyQuest lets go of Wild Turtle, picks up Teddy from SKT if he's still playing at that point.
My god!
And then, bam! Oh my! Reddit just blows up. Oh my god! How could they ever get rid of Turtle? We loved him. We like him. That's because that's how you win championships. That's just literally how you do it.
Yeah.
I think that would only happen if Flycus won championships. I don't think people would do that if they just got second or third.
Listen, dude. We were C9 fans. We were at the same spot you were at last winter.
And
I remember.
Good lord, man.
I went to the Oakland finals, which is like 2, 3.
Oh, the Oakland finals as well.
Really?
The whole fucking Golden Glue shit. Everyone there thought, oh, C9's gonna win. Then I got 3-0'd. I'm like, oh fuck.
I remember telling Travis that weekend because I went to the Golden Guardians party. I told him I was like, it's gonna be a 3-0 slaughter for CL.
And that is what we'll go to next. Is that Doublelift joins TSM? So, Khan, what I want to ask you, since you like Doublelift a lot, is her first question is: will you remain a TL fan now that Doublelift has left?
Yeah, we're definitely, I have interest in TL. I like Core JJ, I like Jensen, I love Impact.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good group. I hate their coaching, and I think, like I talked about last episode, you can go back years with TL, with Kane and questionable coaching decisions and how they make their win conditions and stuff. But I also know that this split, like, for me, I think it's stupid for TL for a couple reasons. As a TL fan, you're keeping these bad coaches. That's my big grief. I don't think Double has acted very professionally in the last couple weeks with things. I think it's been pretty known that they're going to be leaving each other and stuff like that. And I don't think he's been good about some certain things. But I also think if you're TL, unless TSM is trading you or all their academy players, you're just giving TSM you out of Worlds, potentially.
Maybe. Here's the thing. I actually do think Doublelift is a much better fit for TSM than TL. Because it seems like TL, what they need is someone just more stable in the bot lane. Because they have Jensen and they have Broxa for a very good mid 2v2, and it feels like Doublelift might have been like too many cooks in the kitchen resources. Yeah. Where I think if they had somebody where we can, in a minute, we can discuss the potential TL bot laners or AD carries. But they say if they had, tactical or sneaky or someone like that, those are your only two good options, because you can't get Kabe, unfortunately, because you already have Broxa and Core JJ.
Spoiler. They said it's gonna be tactical, actually.
Is it going to be tactical?
That's what they said so far. Nothing's confirmed yet, but the rumor is tactical.
I don't think anybody besides tactical is going to play that role.
There's
this notion that Doublelift is this heavy bot lane focused person, but this was something that was actually disproven by Mark Z last year, multiple times, showing up graphs and actual jungle proximities, and it ended up that Doublelift actually had, in the previous couple splits and seasons, some of the lowest jungle proximity for AD carries in the league, and in a lot of ways with the Smithy and stuff, they were actually playing more mid to top side than they were ever bot side.
Well,
I think TL's big problem is they don't have an identity, and their coaching has no good leadership on them.
I think
So-
yeah. Well, in response to that, I do think it does have something to do with, for the past 2 years before that, there was no AD carry even remotely close to double lift, let alone double lift plus core JJ. So you really didn't need to put jungle proximity down there, because he would absorb pressure and then probably just beat the pressure, and then just him and core would just kill the opposing bot lane. And yeah, I do agree that they don't have an identity right now. But I think that the most obvious thing to do is just play through Jensen. That's probably what they're going to arrive at, is just play through Jensen and play through Broxa. And basically try to do what C9 did. But I think they have to address Impact's. Is Impact's poor season or poor split, is it an aberration? Or is it more of a sign of what is to come? Because Impact has been playing for a long time. Or is he just at the end of the road here?
Get sent to the gulag with Darshan in Academy.
Oh god, oh shit.
I think the big thing that happened in Impact this season, and we mentioned it earlier, it's like, one of the biggest game plans you had against TL in the past is having to have, opponent jungle proximity bot lane to be able to cover for, the pressure double lift and core JJ or double lift and Ole put out. But this season, with the Rift Herald changes, whether you like it or not, top side of the map is the main priority, especially in the 8 to 12 minute mark. And that was usually the time of game where Impact you would never see a jungler go up top versus him then. Where now teams are repetitively kind of ganking him, like Solo-esque. Like you said, that Solo has an issue getting ganked again. Impact definitely does, and it just feels like TL as a whole just did not understand how to play this new year, this new all these map changes and stuff. And Impact, who is known as a player that a rock there, now actually has a lot of pressure and a lot of focus up on that top side. And TL in a way are kind of treating it as if he can still be that rock, but it turns out if you keep sending 2, 3, 4 people up for first Rift Herald and stuff like that, a rock can only do so much.
Right, he'll eventually get smashed. And here's the other thing is, in the last couple of years, we've seen the rise of quite a few really good top laners. We've had Licorice, we've had Broken Blade. Someday has, he's always been good, but it seems like he's been especially good lately. And I feel like there's also just been more competition as far as top laners are concerned, which he has more games where he's on the losing end as far as skill-wise, I think. So he's just being able to be more exposed, because, 2 years ago, who were the best top laners in the league 2 years ago? I can't. Was it like Hanser, maybe?
Hanser,
Licorice,
Impact, Darshan at one point. You said 2 years ago, so that's like 2018. So he's at the end of his career, so maybe.
Yeah, and that was Licorice's rookie season, but he was a rookie. And
yeah, you're right. Oh shit, there's not been a lot. Holy crap.
Yeah, and now we have, I would say, 3 A-ranked, or A-grade top laners.
Even
Someday, Broken Blade.
Soaz is not that bad. I thought Soaz was pretty good.
Soaz was the one laner who Xmithy was actually able to play through.
James,
Immortals is...
He's still dead, guys. James, are you dead?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Are you dead?
Oh, you're here.
No, you asked me something.
Oh, you're the TSM fan, so what do you think about Doublelift coming back to TSM? Are you gonna suck him off? Nah, he's there, best ADC ever type
It's
shit?
good and it's bad. It's
Okay.
good and it's bad for different reasons.
Okay, so what do you mean by that?
So the issue is that Doublelift like he was saying before, like TL wants a player that's just going to be like a low econ, like stable piece in the cog of the machine. But Doublelift wants to play like Uzi. Like he wants to be like the focal point carry of the team. So the thing is like TSM is either going to have to recreate their macro or recreate like the way they prioritize resources, or like there's going to be some issues. And I honestly feel that it's very likely that if TL rid of Doublelift, well, they have gotten rid of Doublelift, let's just say that for now, and Doublelift is coming to TSM, then it's very likely, I feel, that TSM gets another jungler or changes like the way that they're playing the game, because it's going to be very strange that if they start to, because the issue with right now is most of the resources go through top lane. So if they start like changing that and like trying to figure out, oh, this game we're going to play through, this game we're going to play through top, they're going to have to find like some type of way to like, and that was the biggest issue for like TSM this season, was like trying to figure out how the fuck they're going to play the game. So it's going to make even more issues in like the whole like synergy thing, unless like Doublelift just comes in with how opinionated he's been in the past and just straight up like has that synergy between him, Bio, and Bjerg, and then it just is like a really seamless thing, and fucking BB just picks up what they're putting down. But
yeah, so you did say that you thought it would be an issue with him coming in and saying, oh, he demands more resources bot lane, but I think that's exactly what TSM needed. Their biggest issue was having no identity, and honestly, the best games TSM played last season were either A, games where they snowballed, it was only, or B, games where they actually executed on their scaling comp, their team fight comp, which, yeah, they had issues early with closing out games, but that's not an issue anymore with Doublelift. Doublelift is and has been the best late game AD carry North America has ever seen. We'll see if Sven can dethrone him, but he's not going to dethrone him in one season, I don't think. At least as far as legacy is concerned, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, you get Doublelift, you get a real identity. He's not really going to interfere with Bjergsen, because Bjergsen doesn't seem too interested in being the primary carry on TSM. So he could very well pick up a more roaming setup style of mid lane play, which I think would be very good. And then, yeah, you can pick up, say, depending on how the draft goes, depending on what's given to you by the opposing team, maybe you get the set, and you go heavy top lane focus, and then you go like Xayah Rakan bot lane, or maybe you get the Aphelios, and you go, okay, we're gonna go Aphelios, let's say Orin in the top lane, or a Maokai, or something, to create that team fight comp, or maybe you go double carry lanes, maybe you go MF bot lane, and then Kalista top.
It's possible. I feel like it's just going to be weird because Broken Blade doesn't play like non-carries. Like
actually, this is where I'm going to jump in a bit and actually say this is why I think this is giving him the TSM is one of the worst decisions TL could have made right now if their goal is to make Worlds this year, because I actually think this is an amazing fit for TSM. At least one, I already talked about how previous splits and seasons, Doublelift actually plays low jungle proximity. He isn't always an AD carry that calls for resources, not as much as Reddit and people give him credit for. He actually is, his pressure allows the jungle to go other places.
Right. So when I brought that up, I meant like as far as game plan resources. But yeah, continue.
I know what you mean. Yeah. So I think TSM having a team that already has a great jungle top synergy is probably one of the best things that you can have Doublelift going into.
Yeah, and the mid laner seems content with being a role player at this point.
Yes. I also think one thing we've seen over Doublelift's career, while this season he did have some motivational issues, you can say, and he might have, half retired a season a couple years ago. When Doublelift gets a reason to be motivated, he becomes an insanely great player at the top tier level of definitely North America. Even showing a bit of Worlds in previous years. He might not have been on teams that got out of groups, but there's been some Worlds where you look at it and be like, well, Doublelift wasn't the reason we didn't get out of groups. Doublelift was the reason we even had a tiebreaker game.
So, I want to make a bold
so I think-
prediction. Go ahead and finish. I'll make my bold prediction.
Oh. So I think, Doublelift going into TSM with this potentially not fun breakup with TL and with the coaching at TL, I think you're going to get a highly motivated Doublelift who's going to be happy to be back with Biofrost. You're going to have a TSM team that allows the top lane to still have a carry option. He doesn't have to play with this weak side, option that can't really do much with ganks. I think TSM very well could be that C9 level by mid to end of next season.
No way. in my opinion.
So
Respectfully.
here's my bold prediction. I agree with you, but not quite that far. So if we go by like Madden ratings right now, right? Let's just say C9's a 99 as far as the North American LCS is concerned, right? And the next closest team was probably FlyQuest, I'd say at like an 87 or an 88.
Yeah.
So I believe with this reshuffling of 80 carries, if no matter who's the 80 carry for TL, whether it's tactical or sneaky, I think it's kind of irrelevant. I think they both fit the plan for making them a lot better and bouncing back. I think we have. I think we're gonna have 5 90+ overall teams. I think C9 is going to be, the 99 overall. TL and TSM will probably be at like a 93, 94. And then FlyQuest and EG, I think, will improve and they'll be like borderline 90. So I don't think we're going to have a soup anymore. Or we might have a kind of a soup, but it's going to be a soup of good teams. I think we're going to see a very big jump in quality of play in going into the summer split.
Before I make my points, Itzo, what do you think about that? About Doublelift joining Team Liquid?
Oh, you mean TSM?
Good lord, I'm high. Leave me alone. I'm just kidding.
I think Con or Ravi already mentioned it, but my whole take with TSM thing is I've been a FlyQuest fan for years, so I've been the fan that sees all the giant fucking organizations just cry themselves and shit themselves whenever they don't win anything. And I get it for TSM why they'd want to go back to it, because whoever the fuck's in charge of TSM nowadays, I keep hearing Reggie's just off doing fuck all. But TSM, you haven't done shit since Doublelift and Biofrost left. Biofrost has come back. Bjergsen's on owner. Bjergsen almost left, or allegedly, and all this shit happens. You take the 100 Thieves route, where you just try to get back to the roster that you were winning with. But even if, which I think it's highly unlikely that TSM will even get past like semis is their ceiling, in my opinion. Is like my hopeful. I don't think they'll make Worlds. I just don't know really. Actually. I don't really know what it's going to accomplish when it's like, okay, even in some crazy fucking world where, like, let's say they got into World or something, TSM is not going to be a team. If they keep Dardoch, or I don't think there's any other NA jungler they can even go for that would, like, even help their team at this point. It's just going to be the same shit. They're not going to do good at Worlds. Doublelift's not going to get out of groups if he even makes his Worlds in the first place. And I think it's very likely that they could be a first round or second round exit. Do I think it's a good move? Yeah, yes, because I think that Doublelift, in my own opinion as a fan, I think he wants to go back to TSM. I think it's kind of crazy that this shit happened just out of one bad slit, and I know people can say it's bad coaches, and Doublelift has had some attitude things, and bad mental, whatever. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I'm just a guy watching LCS in my free time. But, but it seems pretty evident to me that, I would be fucking crazily surprised if he went anywhere else other than TSM. He likes playing with Biofrost. He's already played with them. Same thing with Bjergsen. And I liked the argument about how you'd actually have like a stronger top side, and you wouldn't have like a weaker impact, or at least a weaker impact from this split. I just don't know what it accomplishes other than, okay, you make playoffs. Like, this isn't going to magically fix all the TSM problems. Like, they're not going to win anything anytime soon.
I disagree with that last point, because TSM's number one problem, especially these past couple splits, have been their late game indecision playmaking shot calling.
Oh yeah, no, I can agree with that there.
The number one thing that Doublelift did, and it has been known to have done when he was on TSM when they were winning with them, and he did it on TL as well, is the middle late game shot calling, closing out games.
Right.
So if you're bringing in a player that's able to do that type of stuff, they're going to fix their main issue. I mean, if they were able to close games, they would have been able to 3-1 or 3-0 100T. They would have been able to 3-0 or 3-1 FlyQuest.
Right,
TSM was
and
the one team that
would
did beat C9 this year.
Right. Well, once again, if we go back to that game, it was very much a listen. C9 picked a Shen top into a very bad situation to be Shen top, and it just so happens that Zilean countered their entire game plan. It was a very, very, very good counter pick.
And Bjergsen is the best Zilean in NA.
That's Jensen.
Whoa.
But that's his signature pick, dude.
That's a two sides of the same coin type thing. It's a two sides.
Anyway, regardless, it just. Oh god, I fucking forgot my point. God damn it! I lost my train of thought because we talked about Zilean. Oh yeah, we're talking about the Zilean and yeah, I don't think it was much as far as the players on TSM having comparable skill. Really, I think it was more of a very, very good draft.
If you also look on Twitter with the whole Shun pick, I'm not shitting you. Literally, Licorice and Niski had a rock paper scissors competition to see who could play X pick tomorrow, and they picked Shen.
Holy crap!
That's not a joke.
Yeah,
you're telling me they could have won 18-0, but threw that shit off a rock paper. Good God, that shit is hilarious, man. But what I'll say is, okay, so everyone brings up good points. The issue is, I like what Insa said, where you bring in a new player, but that also brings in newer issues too. That people have to understand that bringing in a new player fixes one problem but doesn't solve another. But I will say this: TSM had the best laning stats out of Cloud9. The problem wasn't laning; they're not bad players. Their issue is late game.
They couldn't close. They couldn't close games.
Late game, big game decision making. But adding Doublelift and having him bounce back means they could be potentially the second best team. Their ceiling is actually incredibly high if you really look at it. If Doublelift bounces back, their ceiling is they'll be matching Cloud9 if all the ducks fall into place, right?
Their
ceiling is beating C9 3-0 because that's what Doublelift has done in the past on the best roster. I'm not trying to say C9 is not good or bad. I'm not trying to say they're. I'm just saying if history shows Doublelift playing his best, you're going to see him win LCS like he has many times in the past 4 years.
I don't know. Here's the thing, though. Yeah, well, first of all, last year he beat C9 3-2, and this C9 is not the same C9 from last year at all, or even the previous year. Or
I would say that
really.
I would say that, it makes it harder to beat them this time around, but I'm saying that their ceiling is incredibly high. You have potentially best ADC. Bjergsen is at worst, top 3 mid laner. Broken Blade's at worst top 3. I mean, it depends, obviously, right? But Broken Blade at worst top 3 top laner. They have a lot of potential with Doublelift. You know what I mean? They have so much going for them. Biofrost wasn't exactly that bad. It's just that he's not a standout support. That doesn't mean he's bad.
He's mediocre. But a mediocre support is still pretty. You're still looking pretty good in the bot lane with Doublelift. Listen. I don't think their ceiling is 3-0ing C9. I think their ceiling is
second place.
A second place, very competitive. Maybe a 13-14 win season where they probably lose to C9 twice.
That's it. Yeah, 14-4. If they went 14-4, oh my god. What an improvement.
Yeah, they'd be really good.
I think that ceiling for people, I think that Doublelift himself has earned the respect of his ceiling being the best in LCS.
Sure, but he's one player.
That's not saying that ceiling is 100% realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that history has shown if there is a ceiling for Doublelift, it is winning the LCS, regardless of whatever team's in there.
The last thing that I'll mention before I'll let you finish is people do use that a lot where, you know, he left a team, he beats them. To be fair, at one point that is not going to happen anymore. You know how that's just how, you know, sports
It already
works.
has happened. I mean, he left CLG and they lost to CLG in spring playoffs.
Yeah. It's just I've seen that brought up a lot. Is that people keep saying, you know, like he'll win if he leaves. That's not a guarantee. That's just something that has just happened. You know what I mean? Like it's not set in stone that he'll just automatically win. It's just that the history of it kind of makes you think like, okay, he'll leave a team and he'll win. But given how sports and all this stuff works, at one point, like C9 getting out of groups constantly, at some point it's not going to happen. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And here's my issue with saying, like, oh, his potential is winning LCS. He's just one player. Like, when you're saying, like, the potential to win the split, you have to look at it as a team potential, not necessarily individual. Like, I could take Faker from 2015 and put him on that CLG team, and they're still not winning the split.
Well, they're easily winning the split.
They would easily win the split.
America played.
With how Faker played,
They probably go 18-0 before
bro.
Cloud9.
Faker was like LeBron James level. I think they would win the split, honestly. But that's just, you know, it's not here nor there.
The rest of the team is just too poor. It's a team game.
I mean,
like,
but back then it was about solo play, though. You know,
back then, I'm talking about. I take him from there and just plop him in the game right now in this split.
That's a
Put it
weird
this way, Jizuki took a worse team than, you know, in some ways what CLG has in cores. Or CLG and EG have a pretty similar like around aspect in some ways, and he got EG to get to third place. And Jizuki is like a third of a player of what 2015 Faker was. If you think Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest and C9 were good because of mid jungle duo, guarantee you Faker with any jungle in the LCS would make all these mid laners in his prime.
Yeah.
Look like shit.
In his prime, oh my god, dude, it was.
I think they'd be a good team. I just can't take the worst team in the league and say, all right, I'm going to put one really good player on their team, like really, really, really good, and then
I
just like stamp their championship. Like yeah, Doublelift's really good. And I think Doublelift is going to make them much better because it's going to solve a lot of their issues. It's just C9 is a historically good North American team.
Can we also talk about one of the bigger issues with TSM was their just random drafts in the middle of the split?
Yeah.
We could go on for hours about that.
That's the point.
No, I agree with all that stuff.
Literally, in Niski's words, he said like TSM just had no identity and they were playing like tank mids in the middle split for no reason.
To be
Yeah.
good luck.
You know what? Doublelift will sound off.
Funny.
Yeah. Doublelift will sound off on that, and listen, as much as I am very not a huge fan of Doublelift, I can recognize he's very good and he is a leader. And that's exactly what TSM needs.
James, chime in. Throw something out. Throw a curveball at us. Say Faker sucks in 2015. Just throw it in there.
No, I agree on points that have been made.
It's just that, I don't know. Like, there's so many different ways you can tackle this, but I do agree with Concept, because if he has a problem with management in TL, at some point, if you're losing, you're going to have that issue again. It's the same issue I brought up with a lot of people coming into this split, was that you bring all these older rosters back, you know, you get the band back together type shit back in high school. Like, people have to factor in, you got rid of this team for a reason. Like, these people broke up for a reason. So all of a sudden, let's just say you're losing, right? They're on like, let's say TSM is on like a 4-game losing streak because, you know, how the LCS is structured best of once. What's to say these issues don't get brought up again? You know what I mean? And then they have their issues again. You know what I mean? Like, people have to factor in, these people left each other back then for a reason. And all of a sudden, you know what I mean?
The reason was a little bit different. The reason why left TSM was because they wanted Mithy as a shot caller, and Mithy would only come over with Sven. So
see, that point, that's fine. It's just that these issues with people playing with each other and them leaving, like, not just the Doublelift situation, okay, that one's a little bit different, but I don't agree with just playing all the same players again. It's not the same meta, the game is way different, and it's something Steve brought up too, where like people should be trying out new players. The LEC, the LCK, and the LPO does this. They always try out new players because you always want to create this constant like new wave of players coming in. The LCS is different, obviously, because, you know, we have less players, but we have academy players. The only way these academy players get better and actually are what we think of
Mhm.
like Licorice and shit. Like, there could be another Licorice in Academy right now. No one's playing him. Why? Because they have this idea of they want to play the same players 5 years straight. How is Apollo still getting teams after all these years? We know what he's about.
Yeah.
He's the same player. He has not
But this-
changed whatsoever.
That brings back to what I said earlier about, listen, our region would be so much better if every team operated like Cloud9, because what does Cloud9 do? They bring in
They
young
brought
players.
all players from other areas. They brought in Sven, who was how long of a League of Legends player. They brought Vulcan from another org.
That's this
They
year. Like,
originally had
Licorice was
Sven
homegrown.
Garen from another org. Niski
They-
came from another org.
Yeah, it's just like, I want to create
Yeah,
a system
so-
where you try out new people, like play new people. It doesn't matter if they fail 5 weeks in. They're new players. What do you expect? You expect fucking faker results in 5 weeks? No. No one is willing to do it, and that's what's crushing it too. That's all I'm gonna say. Sorry.
Listen, we just saw this previous split. Every team in the LCS snatching up every single C9 player that was available that they had homegrown. Zazel was homegrown. Licorice was homegrown. Kuma was homegrown, albeit he didn't turn out that well, but that might just be a coaching issue. Not sure.
I respect
And
that.
would you
you got a
say,
chance.
would you say
Keith-
C9's
Keith?
best performance was on the roster that they brought in the most people from other teams and orgs?
No, their best this split, yeah, but their best performance internationally was with a roster of Licorice, who they drafted and developed, with Jensen, the guy that they picked up when no one else believed in them, and basically made them their own, with Sneaky, the original member of C9, and Zazel, another homegrown talent, when they went to the semifinals at Worlds. That was their best performing team.
Do
I
you
think this
that
team is
is
better.
than-
No, it's not, but we also haven't been to Worlds yet. It's been one split. I'm saying, yes, they fucking brought in the place players this year, and they've reached new heights, but for years, C9's moniker was getting young players and plugging them in and maybe getting one signing.
I
Like,
can agree.
for
I agree
years...
at that point, but this whole notion of like C9 is in the place they are right now because they homegrown players. I don't believe in because
Well-
they literally had to go out and get a whole new roster from other teams to get a team like they have now.
Which the only reason they were able to get those players is because those players they traded to those other teams. That's like baseball when you trade players in your farm system for established players to win now. It's pretty much
They signed Sven as a free agent. Niski was a free agent, and they bought out Vulcan's contract. They didn't give anybody to.
Did they not trade Sven's Garen? Did they
They sold
not?
Sven Skaren. That's not necessarily a trade.
I mean, you trade him for cash.
Hey,
I mean, that's
Sven Skaren was a great homegrown product of C9 too.
Are you guys
Oh,
working
wait, no, he
tomorrow?
was from TSM and
Wait,
from
we were working?
G.
Yeah, is anybody working tomorrow?
Yeah, sure am.
I am
am
off tomorrow.
Actually,
I'm off tomorrow. I mean, my boss called me in, and then I just gave this shit to someone else because I didn't want to go in.
I agree. They reached new heights this year with getting all those players essentially going. If they're a baseball team, this would be referred to as going all in, where they get rid of all of their prospects for star players. But for years, that was C9's basically operational motto and
Operation Monkey
model.
Piss.
Yes and
Model.
no, because they consistently bring in players that weren't there. You had your impacts, you had your Sven Skarens.
Right, but it was usually one player, and then they would bring up other people. And granted, it didn't win them championships. They came very close multiple times, but they were every year a good team. And I just think if more teams took that approach, we would have a lot more developed talent in the league.
Anybody else want to chime in?
that's true.
I just think C9 recycles a lot of players, and they act as if they're these developers, but they do a lot more recycling than most teams do.
If you recycle a Sven for a Sven,
They drafted Blabber.
But no, wait, Lena said they scouted Licorice. I was like, they did not scout Licorice. Licorice was bought from E United. That's literally just a lie. You know what I mean? Like, that's not even close to true.
Wasn't he in their minor league system though?
He played
was
on
in scouting grounds. He was in scouting.
Yeah. So they scouted him in scouting grounds.
Licorice was not in scouting.
And then they bought him.
He played in the LCS before C9.
He was,
Did he?
Yeah, he was on E
What?
United. He was on E United.
United.
Yeah, they literally they let Impact go to TL and they bought his contract. That's literally what happened. Okay.
C9 does a lot less home growing than you think. They basically what they do is they buy up worse teams' young players. They do a good job developing them. I'll give them that. They're very good at developing, and then they
scouting them apparently.
they recycle them.
Okay.
Right, but they're very good at scouting, which is the real key here. They scout and then develop.
I think they're better at developing.
That is different though. That is a difference though.
I can't find it right now, but I know 100% for a fact Licorice was on a scouting system before E United. Because there was a picture they uploaded like 2-3 weeks ago, and it's a picture of like Licorice and it's like a support or something. I don't think it's Zazel, but it was someone else. If it was Zazel, that's E United. But it was someone else. I swear I saw it. He was in a scouting ground thing.
That's okay. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah. I feel like how are we gonna deny that? C9 has top notch talent evaluation.
But we will talk about C9 in this moment.
Every time. Yeah, so every time they bring in a player, they turn into a top 3 player at their position.
Leading on to that point, will C9 dominate next split? Because we do have a few rosters getting upgraded. Do you think it's their year to win back-to-back titles?
It's pretty possible. I think it's pretty possible.
So, yes, they will win the split again, and they will dominate, but they will probably drop 1 or 2 more games. Because I think the rest of the league gets better.
I think it was like 4 games max.
Yeah, I'll say that. Because the issue is what you guys did say. All you said the same thing consistently is that how do you just fix an issue in like 3 weeks? Like, all these teams had major glaring issues, so they think in 3 weeks all that's gonna be fixed. That sounds like the load of horse shit. Come on. Oh, come on.
No, but they will. I guarantee you, the Double Lift is gonna be duo queuing with his support for 3 weeks straight.
You see, I'm not saying that it's not possible, but like for all these teams that had all these glaring Golden Guardians look like, I don't want to go over that, but you know, it's.
Gold Guardians is back to the bottom of the pile.
Very fast. Here's a quick rundown, in my opinion, of every team's kind of like weakest points, except for like C9, because I literally can't even fucking name one. Here, Golden Guardians. They literally only have 1 good player. Immortals. Is this even a fucking team?
Xmithie is the team.
Xmithie is the team. No, it's like the Golden Guardian syndrome. It's just Xmithie's better than 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves is weird. I hate 100 Thieves for a multitude of reasons.
Good God.
I don't even know how to think. I think 100 Thieves is just that team is just in the middle, and they're just like, hi.
Dude,
they have Sunday.
Here's the thing. 100 Thieves is the anti-Flag Quest, where Flag Quest is overwhelmingly powerful in the mid lane and with their jungle 2v2, and the rest of their positions are average to maybe pretty decent, pretty good, other than support. Whereas 100 Thieves is they have a really, really good top lane, a pretty damn good bot lane, and then their mid lane is pretty bad. Ryoma is not a good use of an import
He
slot.
got quote unquote more consistent at the end of the split, but I mean, he fucking gets a Monte at that point. He doesn't take up an import slot.
He doesn't fit the culture. Remember, quotation. He doesn't fit the culture of 100 Thieves.
Except he's like the most popular player for like almost all of last split on fans and like in memes and everything, and then he got sent to Academy and no one remembers him.
Yeah, I mean, Ryoma did get better. It just wasn't good enough. Like,
dude,
he ended up, so he ended up as maybe like he went from like a D- or an F tier mid laner to maybe a C-.
At least they're not Dignitas.
Yeah, Dig. Man.
But yeah,
the retirement home, except for Friday.
But yeah, Issa, finish with what you were saying. You're talking about the weakest.
Yeah. Long story short, Dignitas is just kind of full of, like, they literally should have just played their academy team halfway through the split.
They got plus Johnson. Johnson was pretty.
Besides Johnson.
Hey guys,
Literally,
Hold on.
I'm gonna
Like-
dip.
See you later, dude.
Oh,
Have a good
okay.
day, bro.
See you, dude.
Take care.
Stay
TSM
stay
sucks.
safe from the Rona.
What?
TSM is a fine team,
TSM is
but
the-
it is shitty
They'll win worlds
It's
eventually.
on a long enough timeline. Yes.
and when we're all having kids and we're all having the great wives having the nicest sex ever, TSM will win worlds eventually. I believe it.
And Bjergsen will be 80 years old still playing Finland.
He's still shot calling. Oh my god.
Oh, God.
Brazilian.
Later.
Later,
So,
dude.
I guess for me, to answer your question,
Yeah.
I think C9 is going to be pretty strong and dominant to start the split, but I do think at halfway through in summer, because I think you see this almost every year with a team that's the best
Mhm.
in spring, the other orgs do catch up, and the team that dominates has a struggle point. I see them losing 3 or 4 games. Still being number 1 seed or number 2 seed in NA, I don't think that's going to change at all, but I don't see them going 17-1, 18-0.
No.
I see them losing 3-4 games, minimum.
Hold on. I have a response to that, but let's let Insaya.
Inuyasha.
Inside. Okay,
Insaya. Finish your rundown.
I'm sorry,
I was pretty hyped for it.
I can
No,
say CLG's okay. CLG's last again. They're not going to get better no matter what they do. I have literally zero hope in them.
It's gonna be the Pole Belter show.
Dignitas, unless they make like drastic changes to their roster by putting some of their academy, if like let's say for some fucking reason they like played almost the same shit besides the new top, they're gonna be 8th or 9th. Immortals doesn't look like they're changing anything. I thought Altec was better than Apollo because with Apollo and Hako you're getting the same shit. At least Altec played Cassiopeia bot and it kind of worked.
Wait, I thought they were the same guy.
Altec and Apollo almost. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know. Golden Guardians, like they're like that. Oh look, guys, we have like 2 good players, and sometimes Closer does well. Yay! And then they'll get fucking demolished by whoever.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing to that? Shout outs to the old C9 coaching staff. They had all this money in Golden Guardians. Signing no one at all. Golden Guardians coaching staff. We want Golden Glue as our mid laner. Continue.
Hey,
Keith McBrief support. But yeah, basically everything beyond those bottom 4 teams, it's like I could see. Well, I know for a fact C9's gonna be first. In some ungodly world, they'd get second if some other team just like had a fucking massive power spike. But I don't think there's any way they get anything less than first. But I think everything from 2nd to 5th is gonna be fair game. And my like small tangent on that is I think EG had problems at the beginning of the split, but they got a lot fucking better at the end, and they were kind of scary until they got wiped by C9, and then everybody. It was weird, like the statistics and stuff like said that like EG was going to beat FlyQuest, but then a lot of people were convinced that like just because of solo that FlyQuest is actually just going to beat them, and they did 3-1. But I still think EG can like power rise because you have fucking bang on your team.
Oh, I think people started to predict FlyQuest because they were just on a tear.
We did
They were
actually.
just playing
We
really well.
predicted
They
them.
were hot.
We predicted them
Yeah.
last week though. That was crazy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
predicted them to beat EG too. It's just
Yeah.
I found it really funny that everyone dropped off the face of the earth on EG because like
Because
before the
they
C9
sacked.
series, yeah, they sucked. I know they sucked.
Yeah. Well, no, say they sat. So they lost to C9 and then sat there while FlyQuest got to get hot.
Yeah.
It's sick. They have very clear defined weaknesses though. Like it's literally just the Jizuke team and then maybe
Beat
Bang
Kumaro
carries
up
them.
until
Yeah, like come on.
you have
Like
5 kills.
this is the same team here that Turbo entered 7 weeks in a row. I mean, they had since Garen said on Twitter they got a little, good. They're peaking toward the very end. That's cool, but eventually, what did they show? Like, were they really anything special? I think they're not going to do as well next split because some things in summer don't translate well to. Sorry, guys. Sorry, mess up the point. Sometimes teams who do well in spring don't do well in the summer because you get figured out. Like, did they show anything special to the point where another team couldn't really beat them?
Are you arguing that like they just stopped playing on different pages and then they told Juice
Yeah.
hey, wait until we go on in this engage, and then they started winning games?
Yeah.
I'd say that.
So
I can see
here's my
that.
thing.
I think they're gonna get better.
Really?
Yes. Well, here's my thing. Here's the thing about EG. If your mid laner is better than Jizuke, you're fucked, or they're fucked.
Yeah.
So the first time around, they EG had Viper to exploit, but Solo is good enough to beat or go even with Kumo, and their bot lanes are pretty similar. Bang was pretty good, but like at the end of the day, he was still a meh laner.
He had to lane with
Who
Zazel.
just-
Remember what Dublin said.
I don't
Yeah.
Remember what
Dude,
Dublin
yeah, I
said.
mean, yeah, he was kind of a meta laner in the regular season, but he was smashing Turtle every game, even in the games they lost.
like Bang is
Yeah.
not bad though. Bang was actually
Yeah,
pretty good.
Bang is better than Wild Turtle. It's just my critique is like he's sort of like a similar player, but just better. Where he doesn't usually smash in the laning phase, but he carries in the team fights later,
yeah, that's
which is what
I also
Turtle.
think the fucking really weird shit with EG is like they had time to sit, and Flyca's really hot, right? And what do they do against Flyquest in their first 2 games? They pick Kale and Zillion.
Dude,
Or,
I
no, what,
don't
it wasn't
understand.
Kale. It was like something else really passive that like GZK like wouldn't play.
Dude, can we bring up real fast? Why do teams even fucking pick Kale anymore?
Why?
I don't think I've ever seen a Kale comp win a professional game.
Probably listen to LS.
LS. LS. Oh my god. I don't know. Okay, so on an LS point, LS is not a bad. It's hard to say. It depends how you look at it. Do you guys? Okay, so I'll ask you first before I go. Do you guys actually like LS and what he brings to the table?
I like a majority of his stuff. Just like, I mean, he knows a bajillion more things about League than I ever will in my life. My only thing that I think I can have like an actual take on LS without sounding like a complete idiot is I think that like he thinks so much of the game sense to the point where he's expecting every player to know this,
Mhm.
and in the reality is these League players, hear me out here. These League players are like 19 to 23 years old, maybe on average. Maybe NA a little older because we just have the same fucking players. But in other regions, yeah, these people are really good. But like these people are younger and like you know they won't always know these fucking crazy picks, and they're gonna play comfort. Teams are gonna play comfort picks up to him or Sinner comps. They're like, dude, like Santorin played Lee Sin and fucking carried the shit out of FlyQuest earlier in the season by stealing Drakes and stuff. And then he stopped playing it completely, and I was kind of confused why he stopped playing it because Santorin was actually a beast on that champ.
When did I get cut off?
Like 5 seconds ago.
Wait.
Oh, I was saying that like Santorin is playing Lee Sin for FlyQuest almost every game at the beginning of the split, and then just dropped off the face of the earth and never picked it again.
What do you think about him, Con?
LS is a
Who's
great solo
Santorin?
guy in a way. But he doesn't live in actual reality, and that's probably his biggest issue.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like,
yeah.
and I mean that, and I'm trying to mean that in the most sincere way. I think him and Doublelift had their like talk this weekend, and like at one point, Doublelift just pointed it out, which is like, yeah, it would be amazing if all this stuff could happen, but that's not reality.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, you're talking about communication?
No,
We're talking about LS.
Yeah.
LS in general.
communication.
Oh, I'm talking about yeah. So, the thing is, they're both kind of right, in my opinion.
Let's just
So-
not right because he doesn't live in reality. Let's just get that
Well,
off the bat.
no,
He doesn't
well, no,
live in reality.
Well, no, because G2 is a perfect example of a team that doesn't usually have to communicate that much, where the players are so in sync with each other, they just make plays happen, and they're all on the same page. But also, you do also need that more traditional type of communication in game. I think both are valid.
What the fuck is going on? Sorry, it's not
We're talking
that's
about-
on you guys. That's just me. Sorry.
No,
Oh,
and like, you can say that, but then you have the same LS out there who calls G2 inting people that just went off mind control.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Listen. I think like this whole night we've been like saying like oh, what's the answer to this? It's one of these two absolutes. Where I don't think there is necessarily an absolute answer to the communication question. I
I agree with
think
that.
That I can agree
like
with you.
like
Oh no, there never
you,
will be.
you like if you're trying to call out and detailedly plan every single play, that's actually going to cause more confusion. So you do need certain plays where people just know what they're doing, but you also need the communication to set up more complex long-term plays to
This is my
execute.
This is my
So yeah, I just think they're both right and they're both wrong.
This is my thing with LS is like he speaks in absolutes. Like there's no way he'll convince me.
Sith?
Yeah, right? There's no way on this God Green's earth he'll ever convince me that a pro player doesn't know how to freeze a wave. He's like, well, why did they freeze a wave this time? Because they just chose not to. What if the coach said, don't freeze waves at this point because you have to contest Dragon, Rift Herald, Baron, whatever it may be. You know, I think speaking in absolutes, it's so, yeah, it's not, that's literally not reality though. In his perfect world, if teams all played like that, we would literally, I don't know what would that even look like? Like, I like that, you know, we do rag on bad teams, but I like how they play. You know what I mean? It's bad, it's not gonna win, but do you want the same team playing the exact same way? That's so boring to watch. Like, I probably would stop watching if all teams play like that.
Oh yes, I love early LCK where every game decided in 20 minutes.
I swear to you, bro.
So it would be LS's world would be like LCK is right now, where the team that loses draft might as well just forfeit
Good lord.
after the drafting phase because they're not willing to take risks and try to disrupt their opponent to get ahead so they have a chance to win, and rather handshake and lose gracefully.
I would go outside and hang myself if that was the case. I would. What? Like, dude, I don't understand him. Like, he doesn't know what a coach said or what their plan is. What if they didn't do that because they were told not to, or they chose a more better option? You know what I mean? Like, I think these little things that he brings up, I don't hate him. Like, I like watching him. His YouTube channel is fun to watch. It's just that when he talks in ways that doesn't make any sense toward a reality sense, it's like, dude, they don't do it because they just choose not to. Like, they could also just choose not to do these things. You know what I mean? Like, it's their choice. Like, they are the better players, though. So what are you gonna take?
It's like
his opinion. It's like talking to a dude who can't get girls or get a girlfriend, and then that person giving you girl advice. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, here's the thing. He's right about a lot of things, like the actual mechanics of the game. The issue is, like you just brought up, well, why didn't he freeze this wave? I was like, well, maybe their call in game was, hey, we have to group a dragon. If you sit there, and they probably won't say this, but the player who doesn't freeze the wave's understanding is, well, if I spend 5 seconds here to freeze this wave, then I'm 5 seconds late to the dragon pit, in which time the opposing team could gauge on my team in a 4v5, and we could lose the dragon before we even have a chance to fight back, or we could just, have 2 people die before I'm even there. So like,
what happened?
It's real easy to look at a game in a VOD review and critique every little thing like that when you're not actually in the thick of the game, making split-second decisions constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I also think another big thing too, and I think this is where the biggest struggle for between LS and some things, and I think a little bit me, but is like I generally think League of Legends, when the ward changes happen, has became a very aggressive, fast-pushing game in meta sense.
Mm-hmm.
You look at teams like G2, you look at LPL, even the most successful LCK teams. Things like freezing waves and stuff are just things you don't see happen anymore. You see teams pushing waves, forcing pressure, forcing map movements. And the idea of just freezing a team out of the game isn't what the meta is.
Mm-hmm.
During Worlds,
no, because the team will just dive you. You're like, oh, you're freezing the wave? All right, we're going to send 4 people and dive you, kill you, and unfreeze that fucking wave.
And, it's just one of these things where, I remember I'm OPTSM fan, my friend Sean, who was in here the one day, I forget what game it was, but we were complaining because he said that
oh, it was wild.
X player should have froze the lane, and they made a bad decision by pushing it up. And I was like, actually, by pushing it up, it created a fight in the lane that was being pushed that got them an objective, that led to another objective, that led to them winning the game. If he was just sitting there, freezing top wave, what would happen is you either have people dive top wave or they dive the other 4 players and you fight a 5v4.
Yeah, you guys are going in hard on that day. I was like, what the fuck? They're arguing this.
Normal me and Sean conversation.
Yeah, but no, it was actually fun. You guys held up your points pretty well. I mean, I do see his point of it, but then your point makes more sense because you got to do what's most optimal in that moment. You know what I mean? Like, in a perfect world, maybe I date Scarlett Johansson and then we have kids, you know, but this is the reality. That's not going to happen, you know? People don't look at it in a reality sense. They're looking at it from, well, I would do this if I was a coach, and yeah, like, I understand you're a gold player, plat player, yeah, you would be much better than pros. I understand, but the issue is people don't understand certain. It's like that same Reddit guy that says, "Oh my god, I would have done this in that moment," because no, you wouldn't have, because that's how a team works. You know, that's how things work in general.
And here's the thing with the way the game's aggressive now, it's like, yeah, you can plan to try to freeze this wave, but no plan survives contact with the enemy, and the opposing team is not just going to let you freeze them out of the game. Like, they'll move people around to make sure you can't do that, or, oh, you're freezing the wave? Alright, we'll just go pick up this Rift Herald, or we'll just go pick up this Drake.
Yeah,
and
also
gain advantages.
on the other side of the map, which you eventually will have to go into, and like vision control is such a big thing that if you lose it at any point, doesn't matter if you're ahead 10, 5k, you can easily lose a fight if you don't have vision control.
Yeah. Best thing Riot ever did was remove Tracker's Knife.
No, I missed that item, dude. It may be a good jungler, actually. Now I'm just a feeder.
No, you do. Just buy control wards, bro.
No, because that's conforming to new shit. I want to be a boomer where I like my old. I'm just kidding, dude. You're right. I probably should do my
buying wards is the boomer thing. What are you talking about?
No.
Yeah, see, you gotta be like season 1, season 2 supports that only bought pink wards and green wards. Because they don't give you green wards, you can only buy pink wards.
Like, dude, as a jungler, like, say I'm playing Kha'Zix, right? My dream first back is, say I do a full clear and I get a kill on the top laner. My dream back is going back, getting my jungle item, boots, probably 2 longswords, and then 2 control wards. That's the dream. That's the fucking dream right there.
You know what'll be a dream day one day is we all play a league game, and I swear one of you's gonna like actually flame somebody for not freezing a wave, and we're gonna just have an argument.
You're saying we should have a clash day?
Yeah.
So hold on. So you have to give me time. I have not actually been playing the game for the past 4 months because my laptop shot out and I was playing at 25 frames per second.
Holy.
So I didn't play. I haven't even done my placements. So I need to get back into practice. But I was a gold support jungle, so I can play either role. What do you guys play?
All I'll say is if you better not play Kha'Zix in your first game back. That's
Kha'Zix is fun though, and I know. Got to carry on him. So I play Warwick, Kha'Zix, Vi, Skarner, Xin Zhao, and I'll pick up Rammus if it's an all AD comp, or I can, I used to play Jungle Kale when it was old Kale.
Oh, because I remember, dude.
Yeah, dude, that was super fun. You would just fly into lane, hit a slow, and then wait for the support to, just wait for your laner to hit the CC, and you just go whap, 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 whap.
Con, aren't you a gold player too?
I'm silver this season so far, but I've been playing more TFT than ranked. I generally get gold 2, gold 3. I mean,
what's your positions?
Top's always been what I'm best at in a lot of cases. That and support. But this season I end up going jungle most often because when I play League, I try to be like the supportive player, and I usually take the role nobody else wants to play. Because I played so long that I'm comfortable in just about every role with multiple champions. So I've done a lot of Clash lately with jungle, but I can definitely play top, no problem at all, or even support.
Well, I'm a co-support main, so I play jungle and support exactly as often.
Let's just say we're fucked because we all play supportive roles.
Yeah, so I'm like
I can carry from top lane, no problem. I'm so used to having other people want to be the carry that I just any type of I just go a tankier player.
I'm just saying.
All right, so Inside, what's your positions?
Yeah.
The role I played the most is support, but
Oh my
the role
God!
I've climbed with is jungle.
We have
Okay.
three
Honestly,
supports.
I play Phil currently. I just never play AD carry.
Okay. So Joe, what's yours?
I play.
What do you play?
I am. See, here's a rebuttal to that. When I put on my C9 jersey, I play like Faker or Jensen. When I have no jersey on, it's a toss up there. I'm literally a coin flip player, but okay. In all honesty,
All right.
I'll play. I do enjoy mid lane, but my main role is top. But I do at one point I've mained every single role. I can literally play everything to a T, and if you need it, I'll play it. But I prefer not to be in a dual lane because if so, I feel very bad when I disappoint the other person. So I would prefer if it's top or jungle, the way I just do my own thing and just carry from that way.
I mean, I can go
All
there
right.
if we find an 80 carry.
Here's the thing. I can also play mid because one of my favorite supports are actually like Brand and
You're one of those
Oz.
assholes. Get out of support
No,
lane.
no,
You just
no.
want to queue mid lane. You want to go
Hold up! Hold your tongue! I have a you know in Fire Emblem how they have the weapon triangle. I have the support triangle. I have my mages when my team decides that we want to play Yasuo mid and no one picks up AP damage, or I feel like I need to carry. B, I play like Alistar and Leona for my tank, and then I play Nami, Lulu, and Sona as my enchanters.
Before we get
So I play all three of them. I just obviously blowing up the opposing AD carry with a full Brand combo is satisfying.
Before we get to this, because this is actually fun. Well, the last topic is no MSI, but I'll agree with that. Brand support is really fun. Oh god, I love that. Okay, so we have no MSI pretty much. I kind of knew it wasn't already gonna happen, but this goes into my next question with no MSI. Is there a possibility we get no worlds?
Here's the thing. I actually believe.
100% yes. Not saying it's realistic. I'm not saying that's like what's going to happen, but it's very much a possibility.
It's a possibility. Here's the thing, though. That's at the end of the year. Let's see. When does yours happen? October, November?
Yeah, roughly.
So that gives us about 5 6 months to get this shit in order. And I think in about 5 to 6 months that we will have COVID under control. We're fast-tracking potential vaccines. We're discovering treatments. We're doing a very good job worldwide overall at containing it after a bumpy start because certain countries didn't want to give us information in a timely manner. China.
God.
I think though we will be out of the woods, so to say, by the time Worlds is supposed to happen.
Hopefully.
I think travel restrictions will be lifted by probably August.
What makes you say that?
So it's just the way I'm seeing treatments and and keeping track of like where vaccines are developing, like the timeline. There's multiple vaccines entering human trials right now. I think it's either 2 or 3, and even if those 2 don't end up being the answer, we're getting pretty close, and I think we're definitely about to get a fast track it. And I think half a year is a very long time for the entire world to be focusing on one thing and one thing only, and it's curing this virus. And I absolutely believe that humanity has it within itself to beat it.
So, the reason I actually probably signed more on it being canceled, yes, things are moving to human trial, but human trial generally takes a 9 to 12 month period to track people who have the vaccine and stuff to make sure there isn't any long-term effects that are much worse than the virus itself. So the other big thing, and this is more of my reason why I think you could have major jeopardy of it, is the fact that it's taking place in China or scheduled to take place in China.
Ooh.
And
it's not going to.
I generally think because Riot is owned by Tencent, and this was the 10th anniversary, and knowing how long Riot has spent trying to make sure MSI has happened, I do not see them moving away from China until it's too late. And by the time it's too late, there is really going to be no worlds to make. So,
Also,
I just think Riot's going to be stubborn and try to make it in China. And also, the other big thing to remember too with COVID-19 is if we don't get a vaccine, all the doctors and out there and health experts are predicting that fall time, your October-November time period, you're going to see a second outbreak of COVID-19, similar to like a flu season. And if that's right around the time of October with Worlds, you might see countries put in travel restrictions just to try and prevent a bigger outbreak at that point, if there is no vaccine ready.
Maybe, but here's the thing. Here's the other thing is, as we get more information, we're slowly discovering that the number of asymptomatic cases is actually incredibly large, and it's entirely possible that a large swath of our population has already had it, and they just didn't show any symptoms. So at a certain point, herd immunity will be a thing, so that we will be able to move towards quarantining people who are at risk who have not had it, and for everyone else to be able to move around close, not entirely like normal, but closer, but with safety precautions in place. I don't think we're going to have rooms full of people for Worlds, but I do think being able to travel somewhere, having masks, going straight to your hotel rooms and whatnot, and then basically just travel to and from the arena is a realistic way to do it. Because I feel like, listen, the way this thing spreads, we're all going to get it sooner rather than later. So,
Insaya, what do you think? Good. I don't like some of that.
I was watching League of Legends videos. The whole Corona stuff, I mean, I think people aren't taking it as seriously as they should.
I agree with that
too. America's really not been good about it, besides like California and maybe
Texas,
Ohio,
yeah.
Ohio, California, and Virginia, I think, have been good about it. But like,
I'm going to argue with this after, like, somewhat argue about.
Well, quote unquote good. Like, honestly, quite frankly, I'm not researching enough to be kept up to date with it. I'm just not fucking going outside. I'm like washing my hands, not going outside. If I ever have to go outside, I'm wearing a face mask. I'm wearing gloves. I'm not gonna just say, hey, fuck all, do this shit and go to the beach with my friends and do stupid shit. Like, I'm gonna listen. This is serious. This isn't a joke. This is something that's actually serious. And people were saying at the beginning, oh, it only affects old people. No, it's been killing people on my age group too. Like, this is something that should be taken a lot more seriously.
Fair points.
I agree. I just think there's this huge emphasis on, like, the U.S. has been very, very bad at it because, numbers wise, it seems as if we lead it, and we do lead in total numbers. But when you start looking at the per capita numbers, and numbers per millions of people,
per capita, it's not us.
We're like in we're in 20s and 30s, which actually says we're actually handling this very, very well.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of countries, especially in Europe.
And what people are also forgetting is, like, for the countries, like, oh my god, why can't America just be like South Korea? South Korea isn't even the fucking size of Texas. Like, or like, maybe it's barely the size of Texas. Like, America's fucking big. People aren't recognizing that. And so I do agree with the per capita thing. It's just, of course, watching the news is never going to make you feel good about anything most of the time. But when I turn on the news and I see Florida beaches have reopened, and then my stepdad is talking to his friends in Florida, and they're like, yeah, basically nobody cares down here. It's just business per usual.
Oh my
While his other
God.
friend in Virginia is like, if you go out of your house, And if you're not like getting something essential, like getting groceries for your family, you're gonna get fined, and they're gonna make you go back to your house. Like the police are gonna be there. So
Ooh, it's getting worse.
this is something that's not gonna go away anytime soon, and I don't know why people are expecting it to.
What? Oh, like I just said, once we all get it, you're not gonna get it again.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, like I said, there was a large scale testing in in a town in one of the states, and it was something like 30% of everyone who got tested had it, but hardly any of them showed symptoms. I just think that we're gonna get it collectively. We just gotta keep the curve flattened, and I think 6 months it's just gonna run its course. It's too infectious for us to actively avoid all getting it in that time frame.
Now, what if we are all in the same room playing League?
Get me out.
Good lord.
On that, because I
Get me out, and
work a
I'll be
job
wearing
that has
like
me out in
5.
the public, so I'm under the assumption I've had it already and I'm asymptomatic, and I treat the people that I care about with that notion, so I don't visit people.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
what I do, yeah.
That's it. And just like, doesn't the LCK have like separate sealed rooms for each team?
I think
Isn't that-
so.
So we could do something like that for Worlds. Like,
Oh,
so
I see what you mean.
yeah, so we have 4 of these arenas set up with sealed rooms, and the teams play, and then after those teams play, you have a team come in, disinfect everything, and then the next team comes in. You take the temperature. At that point, we should probably have easier tests to do besides the highly invasive one that we had before. That has a rather quick turnover, and we could actually probably test players daily.
What I'll
It's
say,
definitely the bigger issue, though, overall. I agree with what you're saying. I think we have the capacity to hold that type of event and stuff, especially
In 6 months. In 6
I generally
months.
think the number one issue is just going to be countries open to travel, and second, like I said, Riot being stubborn and trying to keep it in China at all costs to a fault. That's my biggest.
Here's the thing: they are owned by Tencent, but they know that if they don't have Worlds, that's a huge blow. That is a huge blow to their esports scene. So if they have to choose between having it somewhere else or not having it all, they absolutely will have it somewhere else.
what I think they could do is, you know how they have their own server for scrims? Why not just have a server for Worlds for that too? Would that cause any complications? That way you don't have to travel, and if they put all the teams in one server for Worlds,
It would be the whole competitive integrity thing, because
Ooh,
you
yeah.
have to have the referee with different
Horrible.
regions and communicating into other languages and et cetera.
Also, do you think 200 ping is is feasible? Like, you can't play League of Legends professionally at 200 ping, man.
Bro, I'm a challenger player.
Professionals literally can't play at like anything lower than like
60?
30.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's not crazy to them. It's like,
Well-
if you are the top tier talent of your game, that difference in ping is ginormous.
Right, because you're used to playing on LAN in professional games where there is no lag at all. So, like, if you start to play with any sort of lag, even if it's only like 3 frames, that's
A big difference.
it.
Right?
It fucks up all of your timings for everything you do.
But I'm challenger, and I made it on my 80 ping computer. Does that mean I'm a professional eventually?
No.
Oh, thanks for ruining my dreams. I'm just kidding.
You might be. If you were in like Europe, you might have a shot to get on like some like minor amateur teams.
Second black guy to go to EU and perform really well.
What is this with EU not having diversity in their teams?
Is there generally less black people in Europe? I'm not really too sure. The guys that I had on for the LEC podcast a while ago,
As
See,
much as
Europe is known to be a much more racist place than America, and that might be hard people to believe. But generally speaking, Europe is a very racist place. The amount of times per year you see some type of European soccer team having to like stop a game or set out a game because there's racist chants against a player is actually sad and something that never gets seen by Americans. But
I believe that because I generally don't see a lot of people, black people in Europe, like from how they always show it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, the United States did import a lot of black people around 250 years ago until about 150 years ago.
Like it's not a racing. It's just something I've noticed. You know what I mean? Like I don't see a black person playing in EU, nor especially Korea or China. Oh my god,
So a lot of people, let's say in the United States, who like to be social justice activists, what they don't like to acknowledge is the overwhelming racism of non-white countries like China and Japan and India and Latin America, actually. Like,
suppress me for this.
yeah, you could do that one, I guess.
like people don't actually appreciate how progressive the United States actually is.
Because even Afro becoming like the first black, LCS player and shit, even that was big. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think we're gonna have that again. Because someone asked me, why don't I think this? Because I'm not being racist, guys. Like, black people genuinely are not really interested in video games. From the average person, the average person for a black male or woman doesn't have a PC in their house playing League of Legends. So the chances of another black person in the LCS are really, really low. I mean, like, astronomically low. Even let's take it from a girl perspective. A girl being a pro player in LCS eventually, I mean...
if she's good enough...
I'll let her go through, but you know what I mean?
It's because they're both the same problem. It's just a player-based thing.
And girls are generally not really interested in video games. Like, the average girl's not gonna have a PC in her house,
that's not necessarily true.
One thing that unfortunately does get brought up, and I might get called a sexist in your comments and stuff, but there has been actual physical studies and tests that show females do have a slower reflex time and response time.
I didn't know that, actually.
All right, so that's true on a macro scale, on like a population or over the entire population. However, that doesn't mean anything when you're referring to the individual. So any individual. What you don't or do?
The statistics of finding the individual that can be at that high level is not only is it harder because less girls play games like League of Legends or females play League of Legends, but they also have you have a lower chance of finding a female at that high level in a way too. It's like. Mm-hmm. Just statistics upon bad statistics that
I agree with you. Those are the statistics, but the point is that outliers always exist. They always exist.
But that's still rare, though. Like in that
it's
case.
Rare, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. There are female esports players in South Korea,
China,
and in China.
Okay, no, you're fine, dude. It's fine having you.
Yeah, I'll definitely be on more. Thank you guys for having me. See you.
You've been awesome, Inspire.
Thank you.
Peace out, bro. Love you.
Dude, you're awesome. See ya. Anywho.
Yeah, continue.
Anywho, yes, those are the averages. But, like I said, just because the average shows... an average of a population group shows this trend does not mean the individual follows that trend. That is... sort of a fallacy of taking large-scale population trends and applying it to any individual, because that individual can be the outlier, or they could just appear higher on the bell curve, because it's not just all females have this number of like that they'll have this fast reaction time. It's a bell curve. Some appear higher, some appear lower, and they can absolutely be at the level of a male professional player, as evidenced by other professional esports.
I would agree. I just think it's one of those things where you're looking for outliers, and they do exist and they will happen. But the outliers you're looking for are just so much like statistically smaller than the average male one. And I hate saying this because it's very sexist, but
No, dude.
and there is a lot of sexism in esports. There's a ton of sexism in esports because, generally speaking, if you're a girl and you're in a game with voice comms, you generally more often than not will get treated negatively
or different. Like, you know how people give you so let's say like a girl might be in a random game, and let's say she plays fucking LeBlanc, which takes a lot of skill, and let's say she runs it down, she's 0-6. There's a likely chance most guys are not going to flame her. I guarantee it will not happen. They might get mad. They might get mad, but they're not going to treat
they'll
her
flame. They'll flame. I have played with many girls, because I have friends that are girls, and some of them stream and been in games where they play games like League or Overwatch and stuff. And they'll see that it's a girl streamer. The minute they find that out, they say, "You're getting boosted by somebody. You're really a bronze player. You have no business playing in gold.
I agree with that.
You're such a horrible player." And they'll start flaming over every little thing, or they won't even let them do stuff. So games like Overwatch or Rainbow Six Siege I play, they hear it's a girl and they go, "Oh, well, damn, this is already a 4v5 or a 5v5.
And I agree with that. The thing is, at the professional level, is say there was a girl who rose up through the challenger ladder. She impressed a team, and they brought her into their academy squad, right? So here's the thing: when you're being paid professionally, you're also being paid to be professional with your teammates and with other people in the league. It would not, Riot would crack, say a player in the LCS, and she managed to make it to a roster. She's she's an AD carry, and another player says something even a little bit sexist towards her. Oh my god. That person would be suspended and or fined so fucking fast.
Yeah, I agree.
That his fucking there would be an outline on the wall behind him from how hard he would get flamed by Riot.
You know what? I was thinking.
I would agree with that, but what I would say is a secondary
rebuttal
backup in some ways to that is I agree with Riot 100% do that, which means if you're an organization, do you even want to risk having one of your players potentially do that? Because you might see actual punishment also be brought on you. So do you just avoid that whole entire conflict potentially because you just don't want to be in a situation where 1, 2, 3 of players or coaches or teams act very sexist and wrong towards a female player, and then Riot moves to ban your org from the LCS?
No, all right. So here's the thing: the 9 other orgs don't get a call on it if the one org signs them, and also it depends how good they are. So what if there was a female player who had a ton of potential and who in scrims with professional players was shitting on people, and they say she was as good as Doublelift just for the sake of argument?
No, I agree.
Yeah,
she would be signed, and people would deal with it. That's what I'm saying. I think it's as long as League continues to be popular, and a good amount of it seems like a higher percentage of girls play League of Legends than things like
Overwatch.
Call of Duty, Overwatch, Call of Duty, things like that. I think if it continues to be popular and continues to get influx of new players, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Because I think if a guy treated a girl that way in a professional team, whether or not it's intentional or not, that would be our very first cancel culture type thing. He would get canceled. I think that would be a real possibility, because it's even said about Pokimane. You know how Pokimane was good before she became a really big streamer at League? People say, oh, she's a girl, she got boosted, but she was already diamond anyway. Before being a streamer, she was already diamond. You can go check the logs. You know what I mean?
She's good. She's not a challenger player, but whatever. She's a streamer. Streamers are more about their personality than their actual skill anyway.
Yeah, tell it to Doctor Disrespect. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing.
No disrespect to Doctor Disrespect, but he's not as good as he pretends to be.
Or Ninja. Oh my god! Don't say anything to Ninja ever. He's actually sensitive. You know, I don't like throwing that term around, but he's actually sensitive. But oh, good lord, this has been a long talk. Have you guys seen any good movies lately or at all? Or you just been working?
Oh, I did want to ask Con one thing, because I was a bit confused on what stance you were taking. Are you saying that a female professional league player won't happen, or that it'll be hard to happen?
I think it'll be hard. I think it will happen eventually. I just think, like, I'm coming here from more of a business perspective too. Of like that, you know, of like if you're an owner of an org, especially after what happened with Monte Cristo in the past, you know, and rightfully so in my mind with that ban and stuff like that. Like, do you even like put a risk of your org out there to bring in a female gamer if there's any risk at all of like any bad stuff coming to your org? Like let's say, like you said, like hypothetical, somebody's as good as Doublelifter, you put a female player on a team that's like that, and you come out after a split or a year that there were some pretty not okay things going on, either by a coach or a form of management or a couple of players.
They start dating.
Like, there's a real chance that, like, dating thing's another thing, but there's like a real chance that Riot might not just come after that individual that was like that. They might go to that whole org and say, hey, C9 Jack, or hey TL Steve, like, this is your organization and you let this happen. You are not allowed back in the LCS.
No. It wouldn't be like that. It would be like a Rick Fox situation. Like, all right, this is the infringing player. Get rid of him, or we will remove your team. And then they'll just get rid of that player, depending on the situation which arises. So, because they're franchised, they can't actually just immediately get rid of them. They have to give them an ultimatum first.
That dude's getting canceled. Everybody's getting I can see it now.
Yeah, if you're fucking dumb enough to do it, like, it's beyond me how if you're a league player and this was the situation that was going on. Like, there's a player and she's really good, and then you decide to either say something incredibly inappropriate or, God forbid, do something incredibly inappropriate. I just can't fathom you being that stupid. Like,
I couldn't fathom the stuff that happened with Renegades after hearing about all that shit happen, but my god.
Yeah, the thing is also, I feel like we've learned those lessons now a little bit, the professional teams have. And as soon as that became a thing, there would be a talk with the rest of the team. Like, listen, if you have a problem with her or her playstyle, that's a fine thing to bring up. But there's a line, you know what the line is, don't cross it.
Yeah, I agree. I also, though, just worry, because I feel like with esports, people get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They're very loose on roles and things, and as much, it's like keeping a team as chill as often as a lot of these esports orgs MO. Individuals.
God,
Also, on a business perspective, here's the thing though, which you're not considering. So you have a female, a star female player. Think of all the simps who are gonna buy her merch from your store.
Oh my god! Like, from a money perspective, it would work out tremendously well.
And you listen, you're not allowed to make body pillows, but here's the thing: someone's gonna make them, and we're gonna have to, and shit like that. Like, you're not allowed to make them, but that market is gonna be flooded with that shit, and I just want to see it so I can laugh at it, like, so desperately. Cause fucking, let's be honest, gamers are like it's Simp Nation down here. It's Simp Nation.
Good luck. I was waiting for you to bring it up. I was like, there's gonna be some simps in the LCS. Watch if they play against her. They play less Like, you know what I mean? Though, like they play less.
No, they won't.
forcefully?
They wouldn't. No, they wouldn't do that.
Really? Come on.
No,
dude.
probably not.
Ah.
You're being paid to win.
We
If
played-
that happens,
we pay Keith support, dude. Anything's possible.
no. See, what do you say? You're Jack, right? Or you're Reapered, and you're C9, and let's say Sven. You notice Sven specifically not doing certain things because he doesn't want to say, "Oh, he doesn't want to smash her lane too hard."
Oh,
Phrasing.
Lord. Yeah.
Phrasing,
you see
phrasing,
what-
phrasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open her ass.
But yeah, so Reaper would go, dude. That just wouldn't fly. They're like, we're here to win the split. What the fuck are you doing?
No, I believe they wouldn't do that though, because in the Renegade split, they also just destroyed them. Basically, I mean, would it be a 4v5 though? Because you gotta factor in her mechanics, her macro awareness. Oh, what if she's just like a yellow star, bad mechanically, but she's good macro wise? I mean, she'd still be a liability though. That's still a liability.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing about Renegades. Was Renegades that was the Russian all 5 female team, right?
No.
Renegades was like Romelia.
Crumbs, RF Legendary,
Yeah,
shit
it was,
players
it
like,
was, it was
oh
the
my.
team that was owned by Monte Cristo that got banned.
You're
because
talking about
they were
Victus
doing really bad
Esports in
stuff.
Russia. You're talking about Victus Esports in Russia.
Oh, right.
They would actually, if we had an all-female LCS team, I have no doubt in my mind they would be 10th place. Like, not even close.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, because there's probably not 5 female LCS worthy people on the ladder, but there might be one.
There might be one. Yeah, see, I'll give it that because, you know, outliers are in everything. Everything has an outlier. But
Also,
Right.
the other downside a bit too. Again, I agree with your business perspective. It could be a big thing, but one thing that could be an issue that would also hurt orgs. Again, this is also business / like thinking about the person. Is if you brought in a female and she was somebody who performed well on the solo queue ladder, and you genuinely thought that she was a good fit for your team, and she doesn't do well during the split to start out with, or doesn't do well in games and stuff at the start, you're literally potentially inviting the community into making this person's life a living hell. We've seen it with just regular pro players. Imagine how some of these horrible, toxic people on Reddit and Twitter would act if it was a female. Like, let's say you are... let's say they replace...
I understand what you're saying, but here's the thing. You're saying, oh, these people are shitty, so we're not going to give this female the opportunity to make that call herself.
I mean, to be fair, Reddit people are already shitty, so if you throw that in there, it doesn't really make it that bad. But yeah, I see your point there. They would be much more harsher on a girl though. It would be worse. But to be
And
fair,
listen, you should give the person their own talk and stuff. I just know as being a manager of areas and stuff, as much as you don't want to always make decisions for people and say what's best for them and whatnot, because it's not always great to do that. You do end up making a lot of decisions that you have to think about, like with other stuff, like you have to, as much as you she might be okay for it, she might not be, but you have to make a note, a decision, like if this is now an extra risk I'm having when I'm bringing up this player, that if they don't perform well, it not just affect the mental of her, it can affect the mental of the whole team.
Mm-hmm. It would be like
right.
It would be like it would be like a sneaky double lift situation when they got kicked or some shit. Even probably worse, honestly.
I do it more like a
Right.
Keith situation where, like, when Keith put support into bad the first couple of games,
Oh my god, yeah.
it would be like that, but 10 times worse if that were to happen.
Right. And listen, I agree that there's things to consider, but here's the thing. You have to give everyone their fair shot because, listen, she's a girl, but you know she also is a human being who deserves the same opportunities as the rest of us.
I do agree with you on that. Again, I'm not saying the things I personally feel or do. I'm just talking out of a perspective that this is what realistic conversations that take place whenever it comes to management about stuff like this. And I don't like the fact that they make these conversations.
Right. I'm just saying it's just gonna be a how good is she? If she's good enough, she will play. It's like it's like the first black baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first one couldn't just be an average player.
He had to be better.
Yeah, he had to be really great. And then once he proved that a black player could be exactly as good, if not better, than the majority of the players in the league, it became an accepted thing that yes, they will play.
See, all it is
that. Yeah, that's not where it had to be. Yeah.
Yeah, because if she's really good, her mechanics are somewhat decent. She doesn't have the best mechanics, though, but, pro level, she's good macro sense, like, she works with the team well. That's perfectly fine. That's all I would want. You know what I mean?
The first one will have to be, like...
Yeah, good.
An all-pro level. Pro level.
Because
pro level has to be on a winning team.
That also, see, that's the point, too, is that could she get on a winning team, though?
Yeah, if they're good enough.
Thing is, if she's good enough, if she's that good, like she's like all-pro second team 80 carry, then all of a sudden she's part of the reason why they're good. It's not that the team even has to be that good when she gets there. Like say we look at alright, say like Immortals, right? Say this double lift like female player existed this split and she was on Immortals and she was the lane. She was the strong lane, and they got into playoffs and had a 11-win season that got second place. If Immortals had a strong lane, they probably would have been second place this season.
See,
what if she was that player?
You can't, because you can see a good player in bad teams. People notice how decent Closer was in Golden Guardians, but it's just that it's gonna be that black guy baseball situation where she's gonna be the caveat to other female pro players. But if she fails, it's hard to believe that lightning will strike twice on that. It's hard to believe that, but we could be wrong. But
yeah,
did you guys see anything good this week? So if you're watching at this point, guys, we're done talking about League. We can talk about anything we want to talk about. So, anime, movies.
I've been watching Westworld, and this season I've really, really enjoyed. So if you have an HBO subscription, or if you watch Westworld whatever way you can, I've been loving this season. I also watched Onward on Disney Plus, and that was an actually enjoyable movie.
Okay.
Definitely recommend it if any of you guys have kids or you like Pixar movies in general. It's not the best Pixar movie, but it's completely enjoyable. It's something you can watch that's new.
Okay.
Parasite is out on Hulu now, so
I've always wanted to see it. I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it so bad.
Go see it. It was a very, very good movie last year, and it's on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, watch it. It's
got Hulu TV because why pay for cable when I can just pay $50 and have cable anyway? So it's anime season. Spring's just started.
Oh yeah.
So I'm watching Kaguya-sama: Love is War season 2. Yeah, I really like it. I keep up with the manga. It's a really good comedy.
Okay.
I'm also DC. I'm on DC Universe. I'm keeping up with the Harley Quinn show. It's pretty good, actually.
I like that show.
Actually, very good.
It's a guilty pleasure, but it's actually good, though.
No, it's actually good. I didn't expect it to be good because I thought they were just gonna bungle it like every other Harley Quinn IP since Batman the Animated Series, but they didn't.
But you want Birds of Prey to be?
Damn, just throwing shots out there.
And I recently. It was a rewatch I'm going through again, but I recently finished Stardust Crusaders, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure again. That was great. And
what the hell's going on here with these girls? Oh, sorry, no, it's not you. This is random chicks on my timeline posting about some stupid shit they're never actually gonna do.
Yeah, you guys watch JoJo's?
I've heard about it. I heard how good it is.
I don't watch anime. I'm a horrible person. I know.
I've never been like. I don't know. The animation style just turns me off from it. I'm just not really. I don't know. I'll give it a chance, but it's just not my cup of tea personally. But hey, I'll watch it. I'll give it a shot. One thing I wanted to ask you guys is about DC in particular. So, do you guys know about the Snyder Cut and all that shit?
Yeah.
It's a big farce. It's not real.
Alright, see, this is my point, though, because everyone's gonna hate me, but his movies weren't that good, though. Like, Man of Steel, okay, I'll give it a maybe, it's, like, decent, right? But BVS is bad, right?
Man of Steel, as just a movie, was like a 6 out of 10. As a Superman movie, was like...
A 1.
A 1, yeah.
Right?
So, that wasn't Superman.
It's just that people are like, oh my god, they interview... It's the guys, his movies were not that good. Like... His movies are not that good, and they moved on because his movies weren't that good. They're like, well, give him another... No, why? We've seen enough.
The best DC movie besides Joker to come out in recent years was probably Shazam.
Well, no, you want to say Wonder Woman or Aquaman?
Well, I'm saying that's more recent than those.
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah.
I would put Wonder Woman around the same as Shazam. Wonder Woman is a very, very good movie. Up until the final part where they decide to throw up all over what they had.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that they had, like, the villain come in last second, did, like, the twirly, like, his mustache, like, ha ha ha, Diana, you're gonna join us now, and then had, like, a big CGI villain fight. I would have actually liked it if they played it out where Steve still sacrifices himself. Diana realizes she made like a mistake in judging humanity as like an evil thing, and that Ares is still out there for the sequel, so to say. Because I thought, I hated having that like CGI villain fight, and I think that's like one of the DC's biggest issues they've had with movies. Up to a point. No, that's the villain. It's just like
the villains. DC actually completely owns Marvel when it comes to their villains.
You think so? I don't know, man. It's become
not in recent movies. Not in recent movies. Not
as movie quality. All right, here, how about this? Besides Thanos, name me 3 legitimately good MCU villains who are interesting and are not just the hero, but bad, but dark.
Loki before the Loki in the 2012-ish Avengers movie, I'd say Michael B. Jordan.
There's one.
Baron Zemo was an actual villain, though he, I think that's a villain though. He's not gonna change no matter what. You can't.
Wait. Which one was that? Which movie is
Baron
that?
Zemo, the guy who the Civil War big bad.
Civil War. He was manipulating each other.
That's a villain though. That's a legitimate villain. He hated them. He wanted them dead, and he's not changing. Michael B. Jordan, he played his character Killmonger.
Okay, Killmonger was good. Okay.
I'll throw in another devious villain. Who was just devious? Who just wanted to watch the world burn? Fuck.
The thing is, here's the thing. I completely forgot about that Civil War villain. I think he's
another one.
I know. I completely forgot about him. I think he's incredibly forgettable.
Obadiah from Iron Man 1, if you want to take it that far, I'd say. Because he was evil.
So the hero, but evil.
I liked Ego as the villain in Guardians 2 a whole lot.
Yeah, okay.
So he was a good narrative device, but I don't know. I wasn't super impressed with him. Like the actions he takes are just kind of weird and out there and don't make a whole lot of sense. So Ego is very intelligent, right? He's a very ancient, godlike being. And the way he tries to manipulate Peter just doesn't make sense. Why would you didn't need to tell him that you killed his mom. You didn't need to do that.
That almost made me cry in that movie. Bro, I don't cry at things really, but that hurt in my life too, but it's I like how they take it that far. I liked it when he did that because it shows it's not really PG-13 because, a lot of people do criticize the MCU for not being dark. That was pretty dark right there. He says, his words, I gave your mom cancer and that's how I killed her. That's dark as hell right there.
I'm not saying it's not dark. I'm just saying I'm saying it's bad writing as far as the Like, what reason did he actually have to say that?
You say that
He
to
didn't.
demoralize his character. You say it to break him down
He
on an
wasn't.
emotional level.
He wasn't trying to do that though. He was trying to bond with Peter. He wanted Peter to join him. It doesn't make sense with his motivation at all.
Well, in the back
Killmonger-
part of the movie, he was trying to convince Peter that, you know, the greater picture was better than, you know, focusing on love or interest, because that's when him and Gamora were kind of fighting. So he was using that example as like, you know, I almost fell in love with somebody, like I almost fell in love with your mother, but that would have ruined my, you know, this world picture that we had. I had to do this one thing. You know, in Ego's mind, it made sense. He doesn't realize that Peter's going to think a different way.
All right, that's a fine point.
He's a
But I don't know. I don't like how he's. So I love Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mhm.
but like Guardians 2, I have this issue with. There is no villain until Ego spontaneously becomes a villain. Like,
What about Gamora's
Didn't
sister,
I-
though?
I'm
What is
not
it?
really a fan.
Nebula, was she kind of a villain in the movie up until the very end? Kinda.
I mean, kind of. She's an antagonist.
Okay, I'll say that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not super like I don't know. I just never liked her character that much. How blunt and aggressive she was, just constantly, sort of just I don't know. I just super wasn't into it.
Her character comes full circle after Endgame. She's not likable in the beginning, but once you see Endgame and where she was at
No,
that point, and like you understand her more as a full story. But I agree with you.
Yeah, I've
once
seen-
before that point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I saw Endgame, and I don't know. I just never grew super attached to her. Let's think. All right, one of my favorite MCU movies, Thor Ragnarok. Hela is,
Yeah, that's an actual villain. Yeah. There
but
you-
she's utilized incredibly poorly. Like, so what does Hela do? All right, so she shows up, she breaks Mjolnir, and then Thor spends the next 95% of the movie on a different planet, not interacting with the villain whatsoever. And then at the end of the movie, Thor doesn't even actually confront her and beat her. He unleashes the fire Titan, and he just like destroys Asgard with her on it. So he didn't really even overcome her. She actually, thing is, you could have actually had Mjolnir break a completely different way, and remove Hela from the movie, and the movie can still work. Like, she just doesn't serve that much of a narrative purpose, and that's my issue with Hela.
Okay, so this is a debate I've had with someone, is that Winter Soldier and Civil War are likely, what, top 5 in people's, like, MCU movies? Or,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Which is the better movie, though? Because some people, like, what is the quality of a film, and then there's a better viewing experience, or what works for the universe, so which is better? I like Civil War more, but I can understand why someone would pick Winter Soldier. It is actually really good.
I think Civil War is the more enjoyable movie to watch if you're a normal viewer, especially because of how well they do the fight scene in the airport
Yeah.
and all the moving parts in it. I think, though, for me personally, Winter Soldier is the better movie, just because of they made Captain America into a really, really good political thriller, which I think is a much harder thing to do. Better story throughout.
So I agree with you, except for the last point. I don't think it's actually that hard. I think Captain America's history in the comics has been intertwined with his struggle to come to terms with what the United States government has become, or maybe perhaps always was, and how his view of being a soldier and simply following orders and to do the right thing has been incredibly flawed. And seeing him being turned against that government is incredibly expected, and albeit it is expected, it's a very, very satisfying internal and external struggle for Cap. I think Winter Soldier is probably like top 3 of the standalone MCU movies, like taking out Endgame, all the Avengers movies, and Civil War, because Civil War is an Avengers movie. Can we just be honest about that for a second?
It is.
Yeah, so it's narratively incredibly satisfying for a character growth and character progression standpoint. It's also incredibly satisfying, and the antagonist. I don't think Bucky's an antagonist because he sort of doesn't have any agency of his own, but he's not a villain because there's no agency, but he's an antagonist. He is the perfect antagonist for Cap at that pivotal moment in his life when he has to confront how his worldview up until that point that started with him the last time he saw Bucky is entirely changed, and now he has to deal with him, who basically represents all the mistakes he's made in his entire life and everything he's left behind. I think it's great. I think Civil War is amazing. Or not Civil War, Winter Soldier is amazing.
I would put it in my top 3 of just MCU movies in general, regardless of Avengers or not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we still gotta do that one day. We still gotta do our top MCU movies. But I'll ask him.
Hot take.
Okay.
Hot take. Age of Ultron is better than original Avengers.
Okay, next point. I'm just... Dude,
I like Age of Ultron a lot, too. I love James Spader, so I have a little bit of bias there, because I loved him in Boston Legal.
Mm-hmm.
But that movie gets shit on, I think, a little bit too much. I do think there's one major bad point in it that didn't need to be in the movie, but...
I have 2. I'll let you go first.
What?
Or going in a bathtub.
Yeah, that was probably to show off how sexy Chris Hemsworth is. Come on, you know.
Like, I think they could have brought up the Infinity Stones in a way at the end of the movie in some type of end credit scene in a way. I thought that I guess it kind of did the vision, but kind of like the way they went about it, I just thought it wasn't my favorite. But I thought the villain for James Spader was actually decent, and I thought the different character arcs you had in it was a lot better than most people give. I don't know if I put it better than the original Avengers.
I think
very even for me.
I don't know. There were way better character interactions in Age of Ultron because in the original Avengers movie, they spend a lot of time just being untrusting and angry at each other. And yeah, there's bants, but the bants are nowhere near as good in Age of Ultron, where
that's
where they're all comfortable with each other at this point.
But that goes into the movie, though. They're already supposed to be established by that point, though. The first movie's supposed to set that up, though.
They're established, and
yeah, it's I don't know. Age of Ultron, I'll do say that. You are right. It does get a lot more of... It's not as bad as Captain Marvel or Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? Like, it's not that level of bad. But
no.
The issue is...
I don't mind Ant-Man and the Wasp. Captain Marvel, I just...
Ant-Man and the Wasp is horrible, dude. I mean, okay. So we'll go on that just a moment.
I never even saw it. I had no interest in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Right? It's... Okay,
I'm sorry, Paul Rudd.
I love Paul Rudd, man. He's awesome, dude. But the issue with Age of Ultron, in my own personal opinion, is the reason why it didn't live up to expectations is because Avengers was so good that it's kind of that one, narrative that the sequel's not as good as the original. Like, was Age of Ultron really gonna be as good as the first Avengers? I mean, that's a tough task right there. I mean, I'll give it.
I thought
credit.
It was better.
I thought it had good points about it. It had good points. It's just a Black Widow and Hulk little thing they had going on. They did too much setting up other movies, which is what Joss Whedon said. I believe him. It's Disney. They're gonna do that. What's worse, Captain Marvel or Iron Man 2?
Oh, Captain Marvel, dude.
You said Captain Marvel?
No, dude.
Iron Man 2 was bad.
So, no,
Captain Marvel has halfway even qualities in some areas. Iron Man 2 is just straight bad.
No, it wasn't.
If you were trapped in a room,
Iron Man 2 is so it's narratively pretty lacking. Tony goes through the same character arc that he did in the first one. But here's the thing. I can still enjoy it as a lightweight action flick that's it's extremely enjoyable with that, I can turn my brain off and watch.
It's a popcorn.
And Robert Downey Jr. is still good. Robert Downey Jr. is still incredibly entertaining and charming in that movie. Brie Larson has the personality of a goddamn cardboard cutout of Captain Marvel. Like, the only times where she's like enjoyable to watch is when she's bouncing off of Nick Fury, and if she's not bouncing off of Nick Fury, she's just not good. And I attribute that more to Nick Fury being a good character and giving her good things to work with by the virtue of being in the same room as him.
The only reason why I would give it to Iron Man 2, that's because I think it's good. It's just that Robert Downey Jr., he gets me in it. Like, it's all bad, but would you rather watch Robert Downey Jr. again or watch Brie Larson again? That's my thing.
I enjoyed the narrative more in some parts of Captain Marvel, and I enjoyed a lot of the outside. Like, obviously, I take Robert Downey Jr. over Brie Larson, but I'll take the Samuel L. Jackson over what you had, and with the first iteration of Natasha Romanoff. Not iteration, but like that's the first Scarlett Johansson you saw. I'll take the one scroll guy who was hilarious with Ben Mendelsohn. I'll take that guy over the villain, I'll take John Hamm over the. I just think that there is more enjoyable stuff for me to see in Captain Marvel than there is in Iron Man 2.
Okay, I'll raise it
because it's like this. It's like if I want to watch a good Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark movie, I can go do something that's a whole lot better than that.
I liked him.
You're not going to get young Nick Fury in the 90s anymore.
I like that detective movie he was in. What was that movie? Sherlock Holmes? He's good at that movie. That's super underrated, though, for his career. That's a good movie.
Yeah, it was alright.
Don't see Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, oh god.
Oh god.
Yeah.
You don't even know. You don't even know. Unless you've seen it, then you know.
Alright, so, let me ask you this. Do you think that Captain Marvel, you said it was good, better narratively. Here's the thing. So, you accepted that at no point, during the time when she was being told about the Skrulls and, how they can't be trusted and how they're awful and that blah, 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 that she never once questioned why she never saw, like, she never questioned that narrative? Because
no, I don't think that too much, because she literally was like brainwashed and put in a society and to believe a certain thing. They were literally messing with her mind and holding back who she is as a person.
Okay. Great. I'm glad you said that. So that all becomes undone due to one event, one conversation. She immediately turns on all of her lifelong allies in a complete heel turn.
I don't think it was necessarily a one moment type thing. It was a reliving her past and finding out exactly where she came from and who she was throughout the whole movie. She always assumed that she was a Kree hybrid, living in space. And throughout the movie, she gets hints and eventually finds out, where she came from and who she is, which immediately puts into the whole, okay, the Kree have been lying to me about who I am, and they've been purposely holding back from me learning who I am. And then, finding out, what else was happening there.
Right, but that shouldn't be enough for her to turn on that should be enough for her to turn on all of her allies, all of her friends, everyone she once knew. She immediately turns and starts to fight against them. I find that hard to swallow. Also, the whole thing about her not using her powers for her training shit is kind of weird to me. It just never made sense to me.
one thing that I'll jump to
Like-
for finish and we'll go to the next thing.
No, go ahead. I just don't have too many good things to say.
I'm not saying it's
Marvel.
great. I'm not saying
Yeah,
it's perfect.
yeah, okay.
Right? I just think there's at least like there's like a 10% redeeming factor instead of I think what Iron Man 2 is like 5.
Robert Downey Jr. is worth a 5 out of 5 by himself, and then it's an action movie. It's like a 7. It's fine. It's a summer blockbuster. It's cool.
Popcorn.
It could have been.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's a popcorn flick. It could have been way better if you look into like the things they wanted to put in the movie.
Fucking.
It was
Disney.
going to. Yeah, the studio execs didn't want it to be this real introspective look into Tony Stark and his legacy and what Howard Stark, like, is Tony Stark the hero that his father his father's portrayed as, or is he the narcissistic alcoholic that Howard Stark actually was, and is he responsible for the sins of his father? And all this stuff that was supposed to be in the movie, it would have made it really good. Unfortunately, the studio execs trimmed it all on the floor. They cut it up and left it all on the floor. Unfortunately, I think Iron Man 2, if they could get all that footage that they shot to make the original cut, I would love to see a director's cut of Iron Man 2.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like an ultimate edition for like BVS and shit.
Yeah, so like, they basically just have the original version of the movie. Where first of all, Tony doesn't just get this message from his dad saying, "Oh no, I did love you, son. Your internal conflict is solved now. Go make your element or whatever." If he should have had to struggle more to solve that issue, I think.
Why the fuck was? Sorry, no, it's not you. It's not you. This is gonna reading shit. What the?
Also, when we went to Age of Ultron, it just has one of my favorite scenes, which is the scene in the whole MCU, which is the scene between Vision and Ultron after the battle, when they're just talking about philosophy in the woods. That's just like unironically one of my favorite scenes.
Bro, I love Paul Bettany's voice, man. That shit is epic, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But
Alright, so
what I want to talk about was looking at it now, and Zack Snyder is like, I don't like some of his movies. If you say you don't like Zack Snyder's movies, a bunch of his fanboys are like, "Oh my god, his movies are intellectual and shit." And I'm like, okay, dude. Like, for BVS's perspective, why didn't you like it?
Oh, I don't know if we want to be here this long.
yeah.
Just
We could do a movie podcast. Maybe later this week.
I'm sorry. It's actually late. I just think it's not a good movie. That's all my attempt to say. It's just not good. You know what I mean?
Let's do a movie podcast at some point in the next week or so.
Oh,
Yeah.
this has been fun guys.
I can go into a huge deep dive onto why BVS is a bad movie, but let's just say it starts out with the fact that the end of the fight is because Superman says Martha.
Martha, your
and
mom had the same name as my mom?
It's like apparently the name Martha is the equivalent to a flashbang in CS:GO to Batman.
Yep. Also, Batman was entirely justified with trying to take out Superman because he is a danger to everyone around him, as evidenced from Man of Steel, where he fought Zod in a city and killed like tens of thousands of people due to his collateral damage.
I actually thought the Batman in that movie was actually decently done.
I agree with that.
Here's the
They
thing.
just didn't need to put Doomsday in there, and they didn't, need to have some weird Superman scenes to try and make up for the fact Superman's a killer.
Can you believe?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Superman didn't kill Zod, then like I could sort of like it makes everything better. Like justifying the destruction as a creative choice. is at least justifiable if he doesn't kill Zod. But because he kills Zod, that means that all of his struggling and all those people dying were for fucking nothing, because he could have just done that earlier.
But
Because he made that choice, it becomes, well, you should have just did that 30 minutes ago before a bunch of people in New York died.
But yeah, this has been fun, guys. We'll definitely have a movie podcast one of these days. But yeah, anything you guys want to say before we close out? Fun talking.
I hope if
C9
MSI gets canceled, they move back Summer Split, because like we have to hear something about MSI within the next 2 weeks. Because Summer Split can't, like, it's ridiculous. The Summer Split starts in May, and they actually take a month off in July, where MSI was supposed to be at.
Ooh, scheduling conflicts. Yikes.
Here's the thing, though. Maybe we could have a pre-Worlds MSI tournament. Like, say we do get shit under control, right, and we do the Summer Split early. Maybe while we're waiting for Worlds, if there's like a 2.5 month wait, after a month we have a MSI tournament before Worlds.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I think that would just be like, well, I'd rather just have Worlds. I mean,
Well,
I think
you have both.
But that is it, guys. See you guys later.
The other one, because you'd have back-to-back international competition. One of them.
Alright, yeah, go ahead.
But
We
yeah.
can still talk about this.
I'll move this later on, but yeah.
Yeah, but see you guys
Alright.
later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. Don't ever play like MASH. If you are anywhere of MASH levels in ADC, you're never getting on the pro scene. But that's it. Peace.